Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Why? Like, why do you do that? It's like, it's so dumb. Just say it. Just say it.
What?
Just freaking say it.
Wow.
Yes. 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 I'll have what she's having. Hello. Happy Tuesday, all. By the way, can I make it abundantly clear? This browbeating of me to you for the rumbles, for the thumbs up, for the approval, for the yes, I see you, and yes, I like it. That is the number one thing that puts us on the leaderboard. I'd love to say that it's all the comments. It is the number one thing. It is you hitting that bubble underneath the video box. And you guys did it yesterday. And I'm very grateful. Thank you. Like, we have very few views compared to the big dogs on the board. But when it comes to the percentage of you guys interacting with us and you being a part of something, there's just no comparison. So Brock said he was listening to a Rush Limbaugh Christmas.
It was his last Christmas show. And he says at Christmas time, he always feels thankful. And he was talking to his listeners and how he had gained insight because he wasn't supposed to make it till Christmas, and what's important and what's not important, and how people have done so much for him. And he was thanking the listeners. And
that's how I feel about you. And he said to me this morning, he's like, I'm just going to say it sounded very similar.
It did. I think it's why you guys, you'll tell me if I'm speaking out of turn. It's so personal and so heartfelt, much like Rush's comments, that's the connection that she has with you guys, that it's an honest connection. It's authentic. It's not a show. It's not, do we try to be informative and entertaining every day? Of course you do. But it's also that you guys stick through commercial breaks, that you guys show up sometimes if you can't watch just a rumble. It's a connection that I've only seen truly with one other host I've ever worked with, where it was that connection that they had. And I don't think most hosts have it. And I think that's just the difference between a great host.
I just love you idiots more than anything.
One. Wow. Let her get a dig in with you idiots.
There we go. He was getting a little sentimental. I was getting a little misty. I'm like, no, you didn't.
Sentimental.
No, you didn't. All right, I want to tell you guys about Take Lean. Take Lean. Okay, Brick House Nutrition. I happen to be drinking right now their Field of Greens, I'm just going to say. But TakeLean.com, they're giving you 20% off right now to try. This is their most popular product. It is their weight loss addition to the entirety of the world out there. And it's an oral supplement. It's something you take and it kills your cravings, but it does something else. It converts fat from here to here into energy. I'm like, sign me up. Also manages blood sugar, helps so you don't have these huge crashes. And it crushes your cravings and your appetite. Like, it's great. It monitors you on 3 different levels. And by the way, it's invented by doctors. TakeLean.com. TakeLean.com. Use my name, 20% off. Okay. This is for not just sort of, I've got a couple pounds. If you've got 10 pounds or more to lose, this is your baby. This is your baby. TakeLean.com but promo code Rumble. Wendy. Jesus. All right, let's wake up, sisters. I was up at 2:30 in the morning. I was thinking about taxes. I know, I'm so hot.
No.
Everyone's like, you are so attractive.
Yeah, it's
meanwhile,
government
Joe's
shut
like,
down. You shouldn't have to do your taxes.
And I'm like, taxes. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Look, if you can't get your asses to figure out what's going on with the whole everything, how about a big fungu on whatever you think I owe you?
Yeah.
How about one of those? And I'll even double barrel fungu you. How about that? Does that work for everybody?
How about just this? For every day you're shut down, we don't pay taxes.
I can deal with it.
So there'll be three times this year within a year, calendar year, that we wouldn't have to pay taxes. We'll show you how useless you people are.
You people.
Because you'll work for money. They work for your tax money, not for you, just to get your money. I hate them all.
The spigot has closed, though, on the flow of dough.
Yeah.
And that's why they're so desperate, taxing the everlasting liver out of rich people. You can only squeeze us so much, but the uber rich.
Yeah, but you're squeezing everybody.
Yeah. Stop it with your common sense. I've had enough.
Don't tell me what to do.
Happy Tuesday, you guys. I love you. Rumble, rumble, rumble. I made you out of clay.
1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Lots to talk about today. Even though it still feels like we're in this weird news vacuum, it feels as though the Democrats are reaching this gasping point, trying to come up with anything they can to basically resist President Trump. Whatever he needs to do, wants to do, plans to do, they have to resist, even if it means every single bad decision they make ends up screwing you. They don't care, ladies and gentlemen. We've got it all for you today. We have a new Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. We've got this kind of remarkable, amazing job that ICE did. Wait a minute, what? Law enforcement shows up and all of a sudden things go smoothly? You don't say. If you like common sense values and you happen to be a conservative, even if you're not, you found the right spot. WendyBellRadio.com. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Well, Brock shared something with me to get my blood boiling a little bit before we started the show today. And it's a post by one of these folks on X who I follow under the handle Amuse. And it's an update, though not confirmed. It's sort of some scuttlebutt. I sure hope it's false, because I'm going to jump through a window, grab somebody, choke him, and throw him down the stairs. If it is true, here's what it says. Save Act. Rumor has it that Leader Thune has a deal that allows senators to go on their 14-day paid vacation, their spring recess. Does anybody out there listening to me give a fat rip about the Senate and their vacation plans? I don't care if you're coloring Easter eggs with your grandchildren. Sit down and do the job and keep your hiney in D.C. Because if you really are insulated in that Capitol Hill bubble and you think nobody's looking and you're like, what? We're watching. Senator Thune, you're a big fat zero. Now, according to Amuse on X, again, not corroborated, but something interesting to chew on, this would restore funding, this deal that allegedly Thune is chewing on, that would restore funding for the TSA in exchange for stripping out ICE enforcement funding from the DHS bill. Well, that kind of sounds stupid. I don't really, and no offense, ladies and gentlemen, to the 260,000 federal workers who have been squeezed by this political game that is so obnoxious and is so off-putting. I apologize to them before I say this. I don't care if the entire flying public grinds to a halt, me included, if it means passing the Save America Act. I don't care about housing right now. I don't care about wages. I don't care about gas prices. I sure as hell don't care about climate change. I don't care about your diversity. I don't care if you want to be included. I don't care. Pass the freaking Save America Act. I just wanted to say it slowly in the event people out there in Capitol Hill aren't really operating on all cylinders. So, restoring funding for the TSA in exchange for stripping out ICE enforcement funding from the Department of Homeland Security bill. The deal, this is the kick in the drawers. Ready? Bend over, grab your ankles. Here you go. Again, not corroborated. Rumor. The deal kills the Save America Act and gives states money if they implement voter ID, but removes any requirement to check that voters are citizens. I don't believe that that is true, because if that is true, there should be millions upon millions of people who simultaneously walk out of their jobs and go storm the Capitol. If they think January 6th was an insurrection, they haven't seen anything until 84% of the people who have common sense and say, oh, I'm thinking that only American citizens should be voting in American. We will hopefully storm the Capitol and take it over. These people then should not be in business. They should not be our leaders. They should not be anywhere near Washington, D.C. These people, if it's true, are a clear and present danger to the United States of America. Now, as we're percolating on that, I'm just going to put it on the back burner and we're going to pretend that it didn't happen, because now I'm pissed. And I don't like starting fussy, but you know what happens when we do. I want to talk a little bit about this deal maker we have in the Oval Office. This guy who manages negotiations unlike anybody Washington, D.C. has seen, right? Let's think about the art of the deal. Let's think about what President Trump is all about. Do you guys remember Barbara Corcoran? When she was, it was not that long ago, but she was talking about how, before she was on Shark Tank, that she was involved in a lot of negotiations in New York City that involved Donald Trump, then private citizen, billionaire, business, real estate mogul Donald Trump. And she's obviously extraordinarily fond of him. She says he is the best negotiator, the finest there is, not because he gets what he wants, but because he can sense your weakness the minute he walks into the room. He can sense your Achilles heel. And so he can pivot on a dime. She recounted watching Trump sell the Plaza Hotel, plus some unwanted adjacent land, to international buyers back in the 1980s, when he, by the way, was near bankruptcy. Instead of pushing the hotel, he sensed the international buyers' hidden interests, and he pivoted to the land's potential. And he closed a massive deal building what would be Trump Towers along the Hudson. He can smell vulnerability, he can sense it and trust it, Corcoran said, noting Trump quickly identifies weaknesses in a meeting and subtly plays to them without being overt. This gift, she says, propelled his 2016 campaign success, by tapping into voters' frustrations. He knows what we want. He knows what we need. And his deal-making style, as outlined in his book, The Art of the Deal, is very prevalent in how he's managing relations with the American people and all of these deals. Apparently now we've got Jared Kushner and Dave Witkoff are peace negotiators extraordinaire planning to meet in Islamabad. We're going to talk about that later this week. Iran apparently is trying to SOS, phone a friend. They got nothing. They've got nothing, right? And President Trump holds all of the keys. He has the leverage. But let's talk about this war at home. What do the Democrats have? They don't have any more money. Do you guys see the headlines today that the RNC outpaced the DNC fundraising by $8 million in February, which sounds okay. And then you consider, oh, that's right. Remember in October of last year when the DNC took out a $15 million loan because Kamala had drained the coffers totally dry and had blown through $1.5 billion or some ridiculous number near there. And they're like, oh, snap. How are we going to get through the elections, right? So they had to take out a loan. They are $17.5 million in the hole. The DNC is right now, ladies and gentlemen. And I just saw a story that President Trump, his approval ratings, oh my goodness, they're like the deep, dark sea, so down. And you know who's sparking a lot of interest among Democrats? Pete Buttigieg. The guy who, when he was Department of Transportation Secretary, took him 3 weeks to get to East Palestine, Ohio, after some moron was like, I don't know, Earl, what do you think we should do? I mean, it's leaking. It doesn't smell that good. I don't know. Let's light it up. Right? 3 weeks later, Pete Buttigieg is like, hey, remember when he showed up wearing his like reflective vest, hard hat, and goggles? And we're like, that's a Halloween costume if I've ever seen one, right? This is who we're talking about. Democrats have nothing. They have no more money. Act Blue is dried up. USAID has been dismantled. The grift that is. You've got Neil Singham, or whatever that guy's name is. He's like the last ditch dark money fundraiser for all things malevolent on the left. Yeah, the Democrats are freaking, and you know it when they put out Chuck Schumer on the evening and morning shows. Oh, buckle up for that because it's coming up. When we come back, Democrats don't hate ICE. They just hate. Now, that's profound. I know. I stole it from somebody else. At least I'm honest. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Oh. Wait a minute. Oh, wait. I got a great testimonial, and I want to read it to you. I love when you guys take the time to do this. And thank you for that. I love what WBR 12-3 said. Wendy Bell doesn't just report the news, she rescues it. Isn't that nice? I love that. Wow, thanks for the feedback, Brock. Forever thankful for your courage. Thanks, WBR 12-3. Love ya. How about this? I received my tulip blooms on Saturday. The massage oil, I love it. Then I ordered a ghost bed, signature hybrid for my house, and I had some questions. This is Cindy. Had some questions, so I called them, a toll-free number. Excellent customer service, she says. I ended up ordering the bed for my house and one for my camper, along with a mattress protector and sheets, and they gave me an even deeper discount. Since it went through the phone, I made sure to give you credit when filling out their survey questions. Isn't that great? ghostbed.com/Wendy. This is a revolution in buying. How about buying a good night's sleep? A third of your life, for heaven's sakes, right? How do you make this decision online? There's so many different mattresses to choose from. Ghost bed's made by a guy who knows about pain, right? After multiple problems and multiple surgeries in his neck, he's like, I can't get comfortable. And so he invented his own brand of mattresses, ghostbed.com. I have a hybrid. It's phenomenal. Easy to order, easy to pick, easy to order, easy to get shipped to the house, get it upstairs. And by the way, they even offer a service if you wish. They'll bring it in the house and they'll open it up and set it up for you, right? And it's 101 night guarantee. Try it for 3 months. Wait a minute. You could try it for 3 months and be like, yeah, I don't think so. Ghostbed.com / use my name. They're going to throw in an extra discount for you, an extra 10% off. Pretty good deal. And Cindy, thank you for that. She also bought Sniper. She called it Snipper. And I was like, yeah, we don't want to talk about Snipper. We'll talk about Sniper. All right. We have some great audio today. I think it's a great show because we kind of have a little bit of everything. Little bit of everything for you. Trace Gallagher. I love what he's talking about with his common sense thing. Pete. Democrats are going to retake control of the House and the Senate. In what world? In what world? You've got a DNC that between 2020 and 2024 lost 2.1 million registered voters. Sayonara during Joe Biden's presidency. See you later. Wait a minute. Wasn't he the most voted for president in American history? Brock, what are they trying to push? Some measure that the Republicans have to attest that Joe Biden absolutely was the undisputed winner in 2020? Promise?
Yeah, that's what they're trying to get the Republicans, as Fox was reporting it.
Breaking news.
Yeah,
Fox News.
They're trying to get them on the record.
Right. Why would you need to do that? Oh, because you cheated and you suck. The 2.1 million voters who left the Democratic Party. The GOP during that same period, during Joe Biden, we gained 2.4 million. But yeah, it's looking like it's real neck and neck. Okay, so I wanted to play this for you. I think it's the best 90 seconds of audio we're going to have today. And I don't like to blow it right in the top. But I'm going to Trace Gallagher over at Fox News has a cute segment called Common Sense. And if you ever followed me on Newsmax, you know that was what my segment was called because, for heaven's sakes, there just seems to be a dearth of it anymore. And he calls out the lunacy of the left, not just for hating ICE, just for hating.
The Fox News at Night Common Sense Department wants to make sure it has this right. The Democrats do not want to fund DHS, meaning TSA agents funded by DHS are not getting paid. And because they're not getting paid, many are calling in sick, leaving passengers waiting in airport security lines for hours. So President Trump is trying to get airport security moving by using ICE agents to fill in for TSA agents. And yet Democrats who don't want to pay TSA also don't want ICE to fill in for TSA. So Democrats hate ICE when they detain and deport criminal illegal immigrants, and they hate ICE when they help passengers make their flights. Common sense thinks they just hate. New York Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman says ICE officers were sent to, quote, terrorize our passengers waiting in line for hours. California Democrat Congressman Robert Garcia says ICE will, quote, be an actively malicious force. And the House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says ICE will go to airports to, quote, brutalize or in some instances kill, which would ruin the trip. Common sense wonders if these politicians actually believe what they say, or do they use hate to generate likes? Is it about serving constituents or collecting followers? Because we all know if the president told ICE to sell Girl Scout cookies, the Dems would have a sudden disdain for do-si-dos.
Well said, Trace Gallagher. I normally am not a huge fan of the Fox stuff, but I thought that was well said, right? Democrats, do they honestly think anybody's buying the garbage that they sell? It's so obnoxious. And by the way, isn't it always curious that they're anti-law and order? They were defund the police, anti-cops, get rid of police, blah, blah, blah. Because what could possibly happen? Oh, I don't know, like everything that happened. And now it's all about defunding. Border Patrol defunding, immigrations and customs enforcement. Why? Because you need to break the law. You gotta break the law because you don't have the voters, you don't have the money, you don't have the leader, you don't have the message, you don't have a freaking prayer. And these polls that show there's some gurgling, burning for Pete Buttigieg, please do better, right? Scott Jennings on a panel with literally an apoplectic group of Democrats, sour sports, downtrodden. They're all like frowning as they come back from a reporter who's like, hey, traffic is moving well here at the airport. Thank goodness. Scott Jennings with the common sense. Thank you to TSA.
You know, I live in airports, and if you're a TSA agent and you're watching this, thank you for showing up, because the people who were there are doing a thankless job and under terrible circumstances. But the reality is, ICE agents went today, wasn't a single problem. I saw a report on CNN this morning, Atlanta was a disaster. By this afternoon, it was pretty well managed, and ICE was patrolling around, and seemed like maybe
is that ICE, or is that just the normal flow of a travel?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying, Atlanta's been a huge problem for days. ICE showed up, and this afternoon we had a reporter there. I saw it on our air.
Lucky you.
Looking at pretty short lines, and so. Look, they're not there to scan bags or look at IDs or whatever. They're there to basically help manage what is a crush of human beings. And I was in some airports in Florida. I've been in airports out west. If you don't have TSA pre or clear, it's pretty bad, and it can look pretty chaotic. So having a few people there to keep that managed and keep the flow of people moving, that cannot be a bad thing. But they should fund this now and give these people their money. These TSA workers are getting crapped on again. This is the second time they've done it to them.
You know, it's so interesting watching the news anchor chick do the thing, right? In that situation, when you're heading a panel, you're supposed to just navigate from guest to guest, get point, counterpoint. They can't help themselves. She's no different than Abby Phillip or anybody else. Hackmore McHackey on the left. They can't help but chirping in with their negative commentary. Because Trump is succeeding. When we come back, the left is angry that ICE helped ease all of the ridiculous airport wait times. Damn them. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Literally, you can't make it up. If it's something that's good for us, Democrats are like, we're going to burn it down. Really?
Don't you love
Go eat a sandwich and take a walk.
Don't you love the hypocrisy of the party that's defund everything is also the party of raise your taxes?
Money, money, money.
Defund this, but hey,
Right.
we're going to raise your taxes. Great. To fund what?
I want to read this. See, Cindy wrote more. How cute is this? She says, I've also purchased Snipper.
She should try Sniper. It's
Sniper's
better.
even better. She says, I love it. My husband takes Alpha Gold and is finding benefits with it. So far, my best purchase has been MCT Wellness. She says, I've been on Manjaro and I've been stuck at a 43-pound weight loss. I added Dr. Gundry's MCT. I'm now down to 84 pounds. I'm now down 84 pounds. I will always have MCT. It really takes away the food noise. That's what I'm talking about. This is what I love about Dr. Gundry's product. If you're already drinking water, and we all are, right? If you've got 20, 30, 40, whatever pounds to lose, and you don't want to completely starve yourself and just eat celery, right? You need to you need to settle the food noise. And that's what this does from Dr. Gundry. It's called MCT Wellness. You can get it by going to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Get 20% off. What this does is exactly what it says it's going to do. It crushes your cravings and gives you about a 5-hour window, I would say, where you're not thinking about anything else. You're not thinking about eating. You're not thinking about snacking. You're just doing whatever you do. And it's delicious. Throw in a scoop. Hello. And all of this with a discount. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. So it's a Trump. Brock was talking to me this morning, which is where I came up with that idea of a Trump trap. And he was like, it almost feels like the president is playing them like a fiddle. Like he already knows what he wants. And so he's going to tack on a bunch of jazz on the Save America Act, like no transgender and no boys and girls sports and mutilation, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't have anything to do with something very specific, voter identification and proof of citizenship. Is that to basically lure people in and then negotiate in good faith with them and say, okay, look, we'll take out the tranny crap. Okay, fine. You can do your tranny crap if whatever. Oh, okay. The boys and girls states can figure that out. That's fine. Okay. But we still now have voter ID and proof of citizenship. And if that's the non-starter, if we can't get to that, well, you know exactly where we are. I don't know. Brock, what did you think the trap was?
Just that. I think that when you're negotiating, the big thing is to find out what's important to them, what they're most, and you can find that out just like that. If you, Trump obviously knows what's questions asked. He knows what his non-starter is.
So what's important to Democrats? Getting illegals to vote.
That's why it's never going to happen.
Right?
He's going to get them to say citizenship. And then he's going to get he's going to work them down to taking everything out of the bill but voter ID. And then they're going to be left with, oh, snap. We can't vote against this now. And he's going to put them up against the wall. See, they don't even want voter ID because here's the thing. If you're illegal, are you even going to show up if you have to show ID? And give me ID on
especially
mail-in
if
ballots.
ICE is there.
What's that?
Especially if ICE is there.
That's what one of the things
yeah,
they don't
Cory
want ICE
Booker
in
and
polling places.
I'm like, why? Why are you worried? We don't want intimidation. Well, you know what? There's nothing to be intimidated about if you didn't break the law.
Right.
Suck it, you blowhard. Anyway, Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. It's never a good time to find out you need a new roof. But if it's been forever and a Sunday since you've had one, or you live in a place and the original roof is there and you're like, why not? If you live in the city of Pittsburgh in the land before time, call 1-800-NEW-ROOF and have one of the guys come out and get up on the roof and give you an estimate. If you've got problems, you can point them out. And you know what Gary did for me? He covered a couple areas that had pulled away from the siding and he had to hammer it back tight and fix some flashing or whatever that had been damaged in a storm. Like they'll do that stuff for you and they'll give you an estimate so you can think about what you need. It's not just roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, downspouts, skylights, sun tunnels, anything on the outside of your house. And remember my boyfriend Dan the electrician. He'll come to your house too. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com.
And don't be surprised if you see the Supreme Court. That's going to be huge on just election
Talking about
day.
mail-in stuff. 4,500 slow start on this Tuesday, but I'm delighted that you're here. Thank you. Look at you, 1.59. Let's get up to 2.25. I need to get up there. Got to hit the little bubble underneath the video. Thumbs up. If you like me, that would be helpful. Thank you so much.
If you don't, it still would be helpful.
Let's see how many comments we have. 118. Come on, let's go. I'm going to read them here soon. long. Welcome back. It's a joy to be with you as always. Okay, so let me get this straight. I do try to be fair. I really do. And I tell you, I'm extraordinarily biased. I am. I admit it. I believe in what I believe, and I believe that the conservative movement, that by and large the Republican Party supports my views. And so I am 100% hook, line, and sinker down with making America great again. It's not controversial to me. I don't think it's a stain. I wear it proudly. I would plaster it all over my house. If my toxic liberal nightmare neighbors would keep their hands off of my stuff and not vandalize it, I would. But I do try to be fair. And I do look at the Democrats and I'm like, what do you offer? For instance, my sister, who is 100% different than I, right? Politically. What does she possibly get from the Democrat Party? Well, you get high taxes. You get lots of rules and regulations. You get a lot of grinding to a halt, unsafe streets. You've got mandates, edicts, emergency wand waving. I don't really see where anything is good. Militarily, you got the watering down of the military, the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan that cost 13 U.S. service members their lives, and how many others their form as they had arms and legs blown off. Like, what do you get? What do you get? Some smooth process? You get some kind of fairness? Do we get better test scores? Is our air safer to breathe? Is the climate more tackleable? What do we get? Faster cars? No, you get nothing. You get higher taxes, and you have people who don't respond to you, who believe that you work so that they don't have to, I guess. That's what I see. So when they grind the TSA agents and they twist them and people don't show up and they're long lines and Trump says, get ICE in there, let's do what we can to get the flow of traffic going. Every single person who's stuck in a 5-hour line at an airport hates a Democrat for that. CNN forced to admit ICE agents slashed the Atlanta airport wait times to under 40 minutes amid the Democrat partial shutdown. Far left CNN was compelled to report the obvious on Monday, thanks to President Trump's decisive deployment of ICE agents to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Security wait times have plummeted from total chaotic multi-hour nightmares. And I mean, think for a minute. How many people out there, look, I'm going to be 56. My dad's 84. Could my dad, even though he's fit and able, stand in a line for 4 or 5 hours? No. And the Democrats did not care one iota about what that meant to you, to anybody, to the people on the other end, to the workers, to any of it. Why don't they ever care about you? Why, when the Democrats make a deal, do we always get the shaft? Do you ever walk away and you're like, well, that turned out better than I thought? No. You walk away in a new freaking tax bracket and they tell you to bend over and be grateful. Well, I think we should listen to a little bit of this because I think some of the commentary was intriguing. Here's your CNN reporter. He's a guy named Ryan Young. He'd been talking about the wait times all weekend and then yesterday was forced to admit the obvious. Whew! It's amazing. A little organization, planning, and personnel go a long way to cutting down these wait times.
Finally, we can take a deep breath here. The numbers have dropped off. The lines are getting shorter. I think the average wait time now is under 40 minutes. So if you have a flight to catch today, it's a good time to come to Hartsfield-Jackson International. Talking about those ICE agents, you can see a few behind me right there. And then I'm going to walk you this direction, and you can see some more of them gathered over here. This is what they've been doing for the most part today, is doing the patrols around the airport, talking and gathering, not really helping the public in the sense of they're not taking tickets from anybody. They're not interacting with the public we've seen so far. They're not checking anyone's ID.
Wow, you mean the just sight of law enforcement has people, I don't know, behave? I don't know what it is. It's amazing. Damn them. Wait until you hear coming up in just a minute what Cory Booker had to say about the ICE agents. So literally like when you see a bunch of guys standing around looking down in a manhole and there's like one worker in there and everybody else is looking at them. That's exactly what they were doing, the ICE guys. They're just sitting there kind of milling around, not really doing a whole lot. But when there is armed law enforcement, it's kind of wild how the public reacts. Here's Fox. This is the danger of hearing the Democrats and their talking points about ICE is going to come and they're going to drive people away and they're going to tase you and they're going to put you in chains and they're going to deport you. Oh my God, they might even kill you. There's a couple people in line that this Fox reporter talks to and they're like, I was super worried at first about the ICE agents. I'm like, why? If you didn't do anything wrong, why do you care? You should welcome them. Here's the Fox report on the airport after ICE showed up.
As long as they don't bother anybody, I'm okay. I was concerned about people. So they're not bothering us. Let's get it done.
I like that they're here. I think that it's allowing us to move and get to where we need to go.
It's kind of scary in a sense because you don't know what to expect with ICE.
As long as they can help us move a little bit faster, maybe they can take some of the work off the TSA agents as far as, general security. I'm all for it.
This comes after days of people waiting up to 5 hours in security lines wrapped around baggage claim, even starting outside. Travelers are frustrated, anxious. Many are missing flights. And overall, they want to know when Congress will finally come to an agreement to end all of this. And so far, more than 400 TSA workers have quit since the start of this partial shutdown, according to DHS.
Madison, what you really wanted to say is they want to know when Democrats are going to get off their butts and stop playing freaking games, because they get to skip to the front of the line. They get to do whatever they want. For me, but not for thee, apparently. Here's Ben Ferguson. He's a talk host. He's over on CNN. And he's like, look, the Democrat Party decided they want to hold the American taxpayer hostage at the airport.
The times have gone down significantly. In Houston, for example, right now, it's under 40 minutes at Terminal A. It was upwards of almost 5 hours yesterday. Those times have come down. Minneapolis is at 5 minutes at one of their checkpoints late this evening. That was at 4.5 hours the same time last night. So not only are these times going down, you're seeing that the president is understanding the American people paid their taxes and they deserve to be able to go to an airport and not have to be there for 5 hours standing in a line when trying to travel, do business, or go on spring break. And all of this is avoidable. The Democratic Party decided they wanted to hold the American people hostage at the airports. This is their decision to do it. I think it's a disgrace. And as an American taxpayer, I'm furious, and so are a lot of others. I don't understand why you would do this to the American people, but I'm glad that the president is continuing to look at different opportunities to put the American people back as priority number one instead of saying we don't care about you, and that's what the Democrats have done.
Democrats need to make a mess. They need to make chaos and confusion and misery so that they can go to look at Trump and say, see, he has no plan. Look, he's not a leader. And then he comes up with a plan and then everything gets fixed. And they're like, darn it. And they've got to go do something else. I want you to hear Cory Booker. Literally, Cory Booker takes his own podium and a microphone. He did not have a wind machine or a light. He didn't borrow those from Brandon, what's-his-face, Johnson in Chicago. But he sets up his own little made-for-TV, like, photo op opportunity to be like, rawr, to be outraged by ICE agents and to say some disgusting stuff. Listen.
And so what's happening today in America that should outrage everybody? He's taking this very same agency that has been bursting into our schools, into our churches, into our hospitals, into our courts, and even into the homes of Americans. He's taking that agency that is reckless and out of control and bringing them to our airports under the lie that somehow this is going to help deal with the long lines that he created in the first place.
Disgusting to hear a sitting United States congressman lie to the American people and use an airport and chaos behind him that he helped create, and lie that ICE agents burst into our schools, churches, hospitals, courts, and American homes. What? I want you to hear Homeland Security czar, border czar, I should say, Tom Homan, respond to the disgusting words that Cory Booker just dumped on the American people.
Deal with the long lines that he created in the first place. This is an outrage.
But I want to say one thing. He's misleading the American people. He's lying. Now, I want him to give me one example, just one, when ISIS went into a church to arrest somebody, or we went into a hospital to arrest somebody, or we went into an elementary school to arrest somebody. Just give me one example. You know why? He can't, because there isn't any. Now, I think there's been one case nationwide in the past year where we're in hot pursuit chasing an illegal alien who ran into an education center. You're damn right. We went in there and arrested him near the front door. But as far as planned enforcement operations in those places, hasn't happened. Matter of fact, the only people that violated the sanctuary of the church was Don Lemon and that group that went in there to attack, Trump supporters while they were having a religious service. So he's misleading the American people, and that is part of the hatred toward ICE agents that's driving the violence. You mentioned before, 8,000% increase in threats. Because of things that people say like that are untrue, it causes the hate to rise, which is, of course, going to end with more violence, more bloodshed.
Things that are untrue, kind of like Cory Booker's outrage, like he really outrage with a capital O. Let's check in one more time with Cory.
This is an outrage. We should not have an agency that America doesn't trust, an agency that literally has seen violence against Americans, an agency that is tearing away American families, tearing apart American families, and arresting and detaining Americans, and violating due process rights and civil rights.
That agency that you're talking about isn't ICE, it's you. It's the Democrat freaking party. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friend, you can't make it up. There's some just yucky people out there who say some yucky stuff, and it sucks when they're senators, right? You got to hear James Carville too. He loses his ever-loving mind. I'm thinking we need an intervention. Anyone? Bueller? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Okay, whoops.
Wrong way.
No. It oozes back. Kind of Scooby's back.
A little more. That way.
I know, I see it. Brock and I are like a married couple for 50 years who are driving. It's that exit. I know, I see it. Who's driving?
Can I say that also what's genius about this ICE situation is the amount of people and now coverage that they're going to get where they're helping. And so Cory Booker can say whatever he wants.
His script, right?
Cory Booker can say whatever he wants, but ICE agents are getting me through this line. And I didn't see them grabbing anyone or
didn't seem very violent to me.
And who knows? Maybe they'll get some of the money that's flowing through Minneapolis Airport through Somalia.
Let's stop those rollerboards and those two Somali guys that are walking through every day. Who do we want to talk to you guys about? What do you think, Brock? What do you want to hear about?
Snipper.
Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com. I used it. I made a very yummy meal yesterday, but it kind of spits grease all over the place. So it's thin sliced chicken breasts, right? With sage leaves, piece of prosciutto, sprinkle of flour, salt and pepper, flash fried in a pan, served after it's all brown and crispy with a delicious white wine lemon caper reduction sauce. Thank you. All over the place. I make it commonly. The boys love it. I make, 6 pounds of it, and they ate it all. It's crazy. So I have my Disinfect with Sniper. Disinfectwithsniper.com. The Sniper is a hospital-grade antibacterial, antifungal, anti-everything. It is the finest house cleaner you could possibly have. It's so safe, however. You could spray it on your face or even in your mouth. No toxic chemicals, safe for kids, safe for pets. There's all sorts of stuff on the website, disinfectwithsniper.com. It's just a great site. It's just a great line of products. And we are both a big fan of the guy behind it. It's Brock's best friend. It's his bestie.
I think it sounds so
gay.
Gay.
Yes, it sounded very gay. But it's okay. Just own it.
Did I have a friend?
That you have a friend. I'm gonna freaking sell this bad boy like there's no tomorrow.
What?
Brock has a friend.
Oh. Also, any order over $50 in the month of March puts you in a drawing for one of the paintings. I don't know if they're on the site or not. I believe they are.
You know what? Do I have time quickly to talk about Rumble Wallet? Or am I
46
out?
seconds.
How many?
46.
No, thank you.
What?
I ain't giving them short shrift. I love me some Rumble. Hi, guys. Thank you for being here. Ooh, we're up to almost 4,800. Look at us go. Breaking the internet, 1.85. We need 150 Rumbles to get to 2,000 in an hour. That would be huge. Right underneath me. Click that. That's liking us. That would be helpful. Thank you. Thank you. Kippered salmon, capers, dash of white wine, and toasted buttered bagels. Wow, that sounds good.
Anything with butter. It's like bacon.
You had me at salmon. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. You know, we just can't make it up because sometimes people who are supposed to be smart, who are supposed to represent us, who are supposed to actually believe in that American flag pin that is affixed 24/7 to their lapels, they should believe in America, and her people don't, and they tend to be U.S. congressmen or senators, right? A sitting U.S. senator just said on live television that Democrats don't care about American citizens. They really just care about illegals. I'm going to give you the backstory on this from the Daily Caller. It's Senator Chris Murphy. He's a zero. With Chris Hayes equally over on MSNBC. And this is the backdrop of the conversation. Connecticut Democrat Senator Chris Murphy detailed Wednesday, last week, I guess, to MSNBC, how illegal migrants are the people liberals care about most. Really. Illegal immigrants. Not you, not your children, not the people that they come out and beg for the votes from. No, never. So Murphy appeared on the All In with Chris Hayes show to discuss the recent Senate border bill, which was blocked by Republicans last week. And Chris Hayes questions the Connecticut Center on the bill's failed ending and pointed out that the negotiations had been entirely on the GOP's terms by excluding Democrats' well-known want of a path to citizenship. No, the path to citizenship is called being naturalized. It's a process. There is a line. Get in line. And Republicans said, fungu to the bill, and they sunk it. And on this particular clip, you're going to hear the ire of Chris Murphy, the senator from Connecticut, basically saying, look, we can't ever get anything in terms of a path to citizenship with these Republicans. They're not down with it. And meanwhile, all we care about are the illegals. And I was like, what? Here's what he said.
The negotiation didn't have a path to citizenship. It was entirely on their terms in order to get Ukraine funding, right?
Well, I mean, Chris, that's been a failed play for 20 years. So you are right that that has been the Democratic strategy for 30 years, maybe. And it has failed to deliver for the people we care about most, the undocumented Americans that are in this country.
Okay, first of all, undocumented and Americans are mutually exclusive words. If you are undocumented, you are not an American. Likewise, if you are an American, you ought not be undocumented, Chris, unless there's something weird going on that I'm unaware of. Isn't it so curious what they say? Huh. And why is it that this bill that they wanted to get across the finish line, that Senator Lankford, who, by the way, is a Republican, I don't trust that cat at all, he was behind it. Did you know that it involved $50 billion for Ukraine? Hello? Anybody else out there think we should be funding our freaking TSA agents before giving Ukraine anything ever? Considering that money has come back into Democrat coffers, we know. I want you to hear James Carville, Clinton strategist, Trump hater. He is the Pied Piper of the Trump derangement syndrome fan club, and he is owning his delirium. And he's like, with a couple choice words that Brock expertly deleted for us so we can meet FCC obligations. He says, basically, I'm happy that I'm sick with the derangement. I love it. I'm going to feed into it. I'm never going to let it go. Well, we call that needing an intervention, James.
I'm going to be damn insane. I'm going to be ripped. I'm going to be throwing stuff. And we'll be seeing everything that you can. Just sheer rage. And I want all of you people that are like me, that have this almost uncontrollable rage, this seething, this hatred, to understand that together we're going to stand. We know what this country was. We know what this country can be. We know what this country is today, and we hate every god moment of it. We're not going to change. We're going to be the same. We're fixing our visions. You can mock us. You can make fun of us. You can pity us. But what we're not going to do, we're not going to change our minds, and we're not going to back off, not one iota.
1 iota. You know what we call that? Insane in the brain, James. I'm not going to give it up. I love it. I need it. I hate Donald Trump and everything he does. Yeah. I mean, it's such a bad look. Play it. It is just nutty. You know, I can laugh about it, but it's not funny when it squeezes the truth, twists the truth, so that you have people standing in line at the airport who are scared about ICE agents. I'm kind of worried about what they're going to do. Really? Says nobody who hasn't been completely groomed and brainwashed by the suck liberal media. And who feeds them their talking points? That'd be right, Democratic Party. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, hour number 2, ladies and gentlemen, America has a new Department of Homeland Security Secretary. And Rand Paul, he and his perm are not happy. Next on the Wendy Bell radio program. I'm sure it's... Uh-oh, there we go. All right.
Democrats are bankrupting the bank and ideas.
Telling you what, it's ridiculous. So I just put down, we all hear about collagen. You always think about collagen as like, I'm going to get some collagen in my lips. No, I'm not going to do that. It always looks fake, right? Can you imagine bigger lips? But the collagen is the number 1 most abundant protein in our bodies. And like everything else that's good that we come with, locked and loaded at nature and nurture, it dissipates as we hit 50. And then you're like, snap, I start having these creepy looking skin, and your hair can become dull and almost lifeless, and your skin can appear translucent. Your nails can get super thin, and it's just like, ugh. Collagen's also great for the gut. So I put it in here. Why are collagen peptides like these from getnativepath.com/Wendy. Why are these so important? It says collagen peptides are hydrolyzed fragments of collagen protein. the body's most abundant structural protein, making them highly bioavailable for supporting skin, joints, bones, and muscles. You want to talk about just giving yourself an affordable, colorless, flavorless, almost immediately dissolvable in any liquid. I mean, you can even put it in your yogurt, for heaven's sakes. Get these into your system. For all of these things, supplementation reduces joint pain, slows cartilage breakdown and osteoarthritis, right? And helps prevent bone loss like osteoporosis. Paired with exercise, collagen peptides enhance muscle mass, strength recovery, and collagen synthesis while easing soreness. Like, honestly, of all things we should have, this is why when I'm drinking my Native Hydrate, my MCT Wellness, this is what I put in it. Collagen peptides. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. You're going to get nice discount. It's like up to 45% off. It's like a quarter. It's like a quarter a serving. Put it in whatever you drink and give yourself the benefit of rebuilding, replenishing the number one protein in your bod. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. It's the only collagen I've ever had and ever used, and I love it. It's very easy to get into your system, and I think it's beneficial, super beneficial. Look, people don't know I'm almost 70. Wouldn't that be an awesome commercial? I'm about to start 270. Nothing. Anywho, how are you guys? What's up out there? One more time, we are not going to be here on Friday. Ooh, we're in the little editor's window, my friend Alan says, from 12 to 1. That was helpful. So glad. 5,300 now watching. Breaking the internet. Give us a thumbs up. Look at you guys, 2.05.
Don't forget we have an appointment tomorrow, too.
Yes. What do we have an appointment for, Brock?
For you to get your foot looked at.
Yeah, I'm kind of hopeful. You know?
Different kind of process. I'm excited to see it. So she's getting like percussion, like sound percussion done on her foot. That's non-invasive, and the laser therapy that I've had done on my back on her foot where she limps. And apparently it's supposed to break things up and give you movement back. So we'll see.
I will tell you,
at this point,
it's not going to make it. It's not going to make it worse.
Right.
So you know what? Really fast, while I have you guys. So Brock, I was talking to our mutual friend who went through the Simkovich Concussion Institute and has seen a real transformation in her essential tremors and just in her overall joy of life. And we were talking yesterday, SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. I've never seen more miraculous results. It's crazy what he can help people with. Headaches, tremors, concussion symptoms. But she said, would it help you if I wrote a testimonial? And I was like, oh my gosh, I would be honored.
And one for him.
Right. No, not for me, for him.
Oh, yes.
For me to read. And I was like, yes. There is no finer
advertisement than somebody who's went through it. It's like word of mouth is the best advertisement that you can have. You can't pay for that kind of.
And so when you guys tell me things,
Yeah.
It matters. Thank you. WendyBellRadio@gmail.com. I still have not heard from Timothy Brooks. I don't know.
Damn it, Timothy.
Well, I mean, I have his mugs and it gives me anxiety because I don't want him to think that like we're some like scam or something like that, you know?
Way to go, Timothy.
I
You're
will
giving Wendy anxiety.
I will
there you
say,
go.
I don't know, Brock, how many we have left. Remember our Second Amendment commemorative gifts. This is the second installment. First installment is sold out. This is the Clarence Thomas. North is Still North, which is just badass. And you guys know how I feel about that, right? So we have, Brock is probably checking.
I'm trying.
It shows up at wendybellradio.com under Second Amendment commemorative gift because we not allowed to sell this stuff and advertise it. So, oops.
We have exactly 20 left.
Oh.
Since I won't take
Again, when they're gone, they are gone. So thank you for supporting us. I love you guys. Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain make America great again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live, marching forward on our quest to get 8 million podcast downloads. That is so huge. Thank you if you've already gone to your podcast store, wherever you get your favorite stuff, and plugging in Wendy Bell Radio and then downloading us onto your device. It's great to be with you wherever you go. Okay, so let's talk about a little business here. Now, it's interesting. If you were to poll the majority of conservatives, I would say, Republicans, conservatives, MAGA Republicans, whatever you are on that spectrum, and say, you know what? If there was a way for the Republican Party and the Democrat Party to work together truly to achieve the objectives that are beneficial for all of America, would you be down with your Republican representatives negotiating in good faith with the other party? Would you be more likely to support them getting along and passing meaningful legislation than just resisting one another? I think the overarching people on the right would be like, progress. We believe that there should be, you're allowed to have your own opinions, right? But you shouldn't be completely diametrically opposed and want to do whatever you can to sink the other side. Now, if you were to ask liberals, Democrats, liberals, progressives, whatever echelon on that side of the aisle, the same question. Do you think your representatives, Democrat representatives, should be working to cooperate with and pass legislation that's beneficial for the American people, working with Trump and the Republicans? I would guarantee that the vast majority would say no. Resist. Resist. For what? What does anybody get out of that? I don't understand that whole resist idea. Resist what? Resist investment in America? Resist trillions of dollars in tariffs that should even a very imbalanced playing field? Resist What? Blowing up the Department of Education and actually caring about outcomes and caring about teaching children what they need to actually know and not diversity garbage and rainbow alphabet soup nonsense, right? I mean, honestly, what are you resisting? You're resisting a man who has been demonized over the course of the last 10 years to such a degree that they try to kill him. Not once, not twice. How many times that you and I don't know about? If the machine is telling the base to resist, really? Is life better now or when Democrats are in charge? Is life better now that the border is closed or when it was wide open and you had millions of people streaming across? Is life better now in Memphis? Now that they've cleaned things up? Now that you've got a Democrat mayor working with Republicans to fix crime, make streets safer again? Do you prefer chaos, riots, looting, all in the name of justice? Come on. We need to stop being the pawns of this silly game. And Rand Paul needs to get his head out of his rump. Bro, nobody cares about you and your butthurt little feelings over Mark Wayne Mullen. What is best for America, sir? Are you able to vote that way? Because yesterday you proved to us that you aren't big enough. And yet again, John Fetterman proves to us that he is. Justin... Well, it was just in several hours ago, so sorry. Senate votes 54-45 to confirm Mark Wayne Mullen as the Department of Homeland Security chief. One Republican votes no. It's a disgrace. It's such a petty, petulant, crybaby, elementary school playground at recess nonsense. The Senate on Monday evening voted 54-45 to confirm Mark Wayne Mullen as the next Department of Homeland Security Secretary. Brock, I've been watching. Have you seen anything on TV about it being, he's supposed to be confirmed and supposed to be official today. GOP Senator Rand Paul voted no again on Monday. He voted no in every procedural vote leading up to Monday's final floor vote because for Rand Paul, ladies and gentlemen, personal is more important than country. Personal is more important than anything. And Rand Paul was butthurt. Democrat Senators John Fetterman and Martin Heinrich voted yes. Democrat Senator Ruben Gallego, I guess, just didn't vote. Two tapped out, couldn't manage it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make it, guys. See if you can carry on without me. Okay. Senators erupted in cheers after Mullen was confirmed. Well, don't take my word for it. Let's hear James Lankford, Republican, making the announcement that the vote is official and that Mullen is, in fact, across the finish line.
On this vote, the ayes are 54, the nays are 45. The nomination of Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma to be Secretary of Homeland Security is confirmed. Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made, laid upon the table. The president will be immediately notified of the Senate's action.
Well, thank God for at least a moment there was some corroboration. All of the Democrats voting against him, except two. Why? Because he's President Trump's pick? Don't you care about the security of the homeland? No. And you mean to tell me the Democrats think that they are poised to win back the House or the Senate? In what world do you operate in? It makes no sense. Which is why when you hear people like James Carville, it's sort of like a, I don't know, it's like a scale. There's like a moving scale of crazy. It's like the hot, crazy Matrix, right? And at one point hot and another point crazy. What you got there is a tranny, right? That's not
Yeah, if she's too cool
right. She's
and
a
not
stripper.
crazy,
Yeah, right.
but good looking.
Yeah, it might be a tranny, right? And then if you get to this hot and this negative crazy, right, cool, then what you have is a unicorn, and capture that individual because she doesn't exist. This is sort of where we are on the crazy matrix of being a Democrat. Can you put aside the marching orders of the party? These are your talking points. You must resist. John Fetterman's like, I'm not going to resist because I represent a state, a commonwealth that's purple, right? It could swing one way or the other. I represent all of them. I don't just represent those who are Democrats. Isn't that freaking refreshing? The dude who had a stroke is the one in Capitol Hill who makes them. I don't get it either, friends. I want you to hear Tom Homan. He was delighted to hear the news of Markwayne Mullin. Apparently, this is not some Kamala Harris is the border czar who never went to the border, never talked to anybody, did nothing ever. Markwayne Mullin, the minute the president called him and was like, what do you think, bro? He was like, I'm on it. And so says Tom Homan, the border czar.
Bottom line is, Markwayne Mullin's the right guy at the right time in the right position. Fully support him. I've talked to Markwayne every day, several times a day, ever since President Trump announced his nomination. So, he gets it. He's already looking at solutions. If he actually gets the job, he's looking at solutions for CBP and ICE and FEMA. He's already working. Even though he's not in that position yet, he gets what needs to be fixed. We have frank conversations. He welcomes my judgment. I've been speaking to the head of ICE, the head of CBP. They're all excited that this man will be the next Secretary of Homeland Security so we can keep moving the president's mission forward.
And Mullin says, I look forward to earning the support of my colleagues in the Senate, carrying out President Trump's mission alongside the department's many capable agencies and the thousands of patriots who keep us safe every day. So you've got what? Ice Queen, they called Kristi Noem, right? They got her 86th in favor of a guy who was an MMA fighter who went 5-0 in his matches that he was a part of, right? A guy who took over his family's plumbing business when he was 20. And by the time he was 39, turned it into a $50 million enterprise, right? With more than 20,000 customers. I'm going to go with, that was a good hire. Let's see what he does. And let's see how much all of those in the Senate, the Democrats who know him, want to resist. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you guys got to hear this. You guys know about Massachusetts having this millionaires tax? Well, they've overtaxed everybody as it is. You've only so many wells you can dip back into. Everybody bailed. Did you hear how much wealth that state lost? Oh my, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Apparently, Timothy Brooks is in the chat.
Timothy Brooks, where have you been?
He has ignored multiple emails from you.
Timothy Brooks, this has been sitting on my kitchen table for 2 weeks. I think about you every dang day.
And let me show my frustration. I've had to hear about it, look it up.
No, I just didn't want you to think I didn't care. That's all. Hit me up, wendybellradio@gmail.com. Give me your correct address because this got bounced back. And I got to get it to you, brother. It gives me anxiety. Thank you.
After she...
I can get mad. I'm a woman.
And you see what you did to me, Timothy? I had to put up with that. So I'm
You're
mad,
the
and I'm not a woman.
Well, I wish upon you a power surge. Okay, wendylovesgold.com. I actually am excited. I have a 3:30 call today with Texas Bullion Exchange. Let me tell you how those go. First of all, they're so delighted to know you guys. They out of the gates, wendylovesgold.com, my friends at Texas Bullion Exchange always say how excited you are to support the show, how many of you hear what I say about sitting on cash at home. You know, whether you trust banks or what have you, you don't know where to go with your money. Precious metals are such a great bet. And you don't really have to roll the dice on this because Texas Bullion Exchange walks you through the process. I've bought from them twice. wendylovesgold.com, 855-927-5557. 855-927-5557. Wendy Loves Gold. Watch, they'll probably call and be like, yeah, we don't want to advertise with you anymore. I'll be like, aw.
I just said nice things about
And I just said nice things about you. I still would.
I think it's still a good time to buy
great.
silver. It's under 70.
Okay. For whom? Who are you sending hints to? I'm certainly not buying you anything, you turkey.
Timothy Brooks. When he finally emails you back, he should probably buy me some silver.
Right.
For the stress he put me under of having to deal with an angry woman. I got one in my life. I don't need two.
I've got multiple personalities too. So
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You get it coming and going.
Yeah.
Don't say to that. Don't say
depending on the day and certain circumstances, yeah, multiple. And here's the kicker. It can go from Wendy to Wendy like that.
That's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's called fake
right
news.
after that, right after the quick switch, it then goes to, I have mental problems. I need a therapist. Am I lying? Is that fake news? No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Thank you very much. It's tough navigating. 6 or 7 different 6 or 7. Maybe ICE will be at the unemployment line. It'll get me through faster. Unemployment. That's the second time this week. You threatened me.
Loose lips sink ships.
Well, maybe I just won't push the next button.
Yeah, you would die before you didn't do that. It's not in your DNA. You would have a malfunction like a robot and start smoking. Yes, your head would start.
Wow.
Yes. Weirdo. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. How about this for a headline? Woohoo! Massachusetts loses billions in income after millionaire tax. You don't say. So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You're going to overtax the people who are wealth creators, job creators, tax providers. You're going to dip back into the well of millionaires and billionaires and then be like, where'd everybody go? Really? Residents exiting Massachusetts took a net of $4.2 billion in adjusted gross income with them in 2023. One of the largest totals in the country after a tax on millionaires took effect. The amount was an 8% year-over-year increase. Who are the idiots who came up with this? I guarantee you they're not rich. I guarantee you they look at the rich as the piggy bank. Well, we'll just go back into that well. No, you won't. 41,000 people in 2023 packed up and said sayonara to the state of Massachusetts. That's punishing. It's the first year that residents were subject to a 4% surtax on incomes over $1 million after voters approved the levy in 2022 to fund schools and transportation. Look, if your schools aren't A+ rated, if you don't have the best streets and the finest transportation, what the hell are you doing? It's a slush fund, you guys. It's a slush fund. There's no more Act Blue. Donors are walking away. There's no more USAID. Oh my gosh. What are we going to do? I want you to hear this from Fox Business. The mass exodus, of course, cued by the rich, but Democrat lawmakers say the tax has actually brought in more than it's cost them. Interesting.
So we're talking about 2023 because that's when this tax took effect. And in that same year, the state lost 41,000 residents. And with them, they took $4.2 billion in adjusted gross income. The amount of income lost was an 8% increase year over year, even as the total number of taxpayers leaving actually decreased. Most of that money came from the wealthy. People in the top tax bracket in Massachusetts responsible for 70% of that $4.2 billion that left the state. Money moves, and tax experts say it should be no surprise that a clearly unfavorable policy for a specific group saw migration of that group.
With these taxes, the state is not signaling that these residents are, and their contributions and their investment in the state is either respected or welcome. Neutrality in the tax code is really important. It's not the code's responsibility, the tax code, that is, to pick winners and losers. And in some of these cases, there's almost a punitive aspect to earning and investing. Lawmakers would do well to consider that.
But supporters say the tax is working. So far, it has brought $6 billion in revenue to the state. And in fiscal year 2026, collections are up 19%. But critics warn it's driving away entrepreneurs, which is why there will be 2 ballot questions this November in the state. One would lower the state income tax to 4% from 5%. And the other ballot question is capping how much state revenue can increase in a given year. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey has blasted those 2 ballot initiatives, saying that it would create a multi-billion-dollar hole in the already tight state budget. But at a time when we see all of these states looking at millionaire, billionaire taxes, Massachusetts is an example of what happens when they're passed.
We can learn from Massachusetts, I think.
Wow. What sage commentary there, Stuart. Newly released. Right. Wow, we could learn really. Newly released IRS data. How about this? Shows red states gained $39 billion in net income that same year, 2023, compared to blue states losing $43 billion. So red states gained $39 billion, blue states lost $43 billion, right? So what happens when millionaires leave your zip code? They take their jobs. They take their employees. They take their trips to the grocery store. All of the times they take their family out eating, the trips to the barbershop and the doctor, all of it. See you later. Dwindling tax base. What is there to do? Raise taxes, ladies and gentlemen. And what does that do? It cues more people in lower economic brackets to pick up and relocate. Why are we here? It's not safer. It's not better. The schools aren't good. It's exorbitantly expensive. See ya. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, securing the vote means stopping the late arriving mail-in ballots that decided the 2020 election. And it looks like the Supreme Court is about ready to do that. 29 states and D.C. sphinctered up tight today, ladies and gentlemen. Next. Do you mind if I go to the bathroom?
No.
Okay.
All the businesses that take a hit from these Democrat cities between loss of revenue from people moving out and increased taxes. I mean, how do you keep? Eventually, you have to tax the poor. And I don't know why or middle income, even middle income. They're taxing us to the poorhouse, like it's at some point you have to realize that you can only take so much when you give nothing. What has your government done for you? Let's just break it all the way down to the local government. I mean, here in Pittsburgh, what services do we have that are stellar? I couldn't tell you one. Not only do they fail at, our government fails at everything. They have no ideas. They're just, as Wendy would say, turds. They just are. They add nothing to the community. They only take. If government was a friend of yours, and all they ever did was ask for favors, borrow money, never pay you back, sleep on your couch,
sleep with your wife, eat your food,
don't clean up after themselves. You don't tolerate that shit from your kids, let alone from quote unquote friends. Well, that's what your government does. They come into your house. They want to come into your bedroom. They want to take food off your plate. I hate them all. I'm actually going to probably go to Massachusetts this weekend.
Can I tell you guys about GLP-1 Gold? GLP-1, it's a natural hormone. It's made in your gut. And much like your stomach acid, things change as we get older, and there's not so much that's made. So the GLP-1 hormone, which normally is much more prevalent, dissipates over time. And that can trigger weight gain because it's that hormone that tells your brain, we're done eating. You don't need to eat anymore. And so you don't overdo it, right? So there are some people who naturally have this waning GLP-1 in their system. And so they supplement it with shots. Wegovy, what are the other ones? Mounjaro, Ozempic. A lot of people don't have the money for that. They're worried about the side effects. They don't trust big pharma. I understand all of these facts, and they're worried about long-term stuff, right? So that is why my friends at Juvenon, bloodflow7.com, remember, if you use my name, Wendy30, everything in the store is 30% off. This is their offering in that vast amount of weight loss realm. This isn't for your casual dieter. This isn't for somebody who just needs to lose a little bit of a muffin top before a wedding. This is someone who wants to lose 40, 50, 70, 100 pounds. This is a great supplement. This is a great helper that quiets that noise for you naturally by boosting the GLP-1 in your body naturally. It's way cheaper than the shot. This is like $30 a month. It's crazy. And I love this company. I think this is a very exciting product. Read about it. Talk to your doctor. See if it's something you want to try, right? I don't think you're going to look at it and be like, ooh, that's crazy. No, I think you're going to be like, bingo. Sounds like what I need. Go to bloodflow7.com/Wendy. That'll get you 30% off everything in the store. If you just go to bloodflow7.com, put in Wendy30 and you'll get the same thing. They're great.
Nurse Lisa 88 says I started Juvenon yesterday, GL1 Gold.
Oh, nice. Keep me informed. Let me know how you feel. Let me know how it goes, what you think. I love this company. And they were so cute. They're like, your people really enjoy our products. And I'm like, I really enjoy your products. Like, I still have to tell you guys about Blood Flow 7, which I'll do later. But they were like, your people are fantastic. I was like, there are people.
Would you like me to pick you up anything when I'm there?
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Would you like any beer?
Oh, when you're in Massachusetts?
Yes.
No. You're fine.
Is that a no?
I do not now. No, I do not need anything. Fatty Bobalati, who needed to lose 8 pounds. I've lost about 4. Hanging steady at 4.
Have you hit the wall?
No, I mean, when you travel, it's kind of hard. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
It's soccer, and so you're like, meh.
Like me this weekend.
Yeah. Or me. Right. You haven't had a hit of tulip blooms today. You know, before we bounce into this next subject, which I think is significant because it has to deal with late arriving mail-in ballots. I think there's a lot to talk about in this realm. We are in just a second. I want to tell you, we just discussed this millionaire's tax enacted in Massachusetts. The voters apparently were like, yeah, absolutely. Let's vote for that. Screw the rich. They're rich. They can afford it. Well, you get to a point where you're like, what am I paying for? I'm your whipping boy. I'm your blank check. I'm your piggy bank. Suck it. I don't want to be here. And the weather sucks. Let's go. I love Boston, by the way. But literally, you have to look in the mirror and be like, honey, is this worth it? Well, a lot of people freaking left. As we were saying, newly released IRS data shows red states gained $39 billion in net income. This is in 2023 when people left blue states and came over. Who got the most of that infusion? Florida, they saw $20.6 billion infused into their economy. Texas, $5.3 billion. South Carolina, $4.1 billion. You want to know who lost? California, $12.9 billion. People moved out. See you later. How many more have to go? Gavin, but he should totally be president. Okay. Right? New York, $10.5 billion. Illinois, $6.1 billion. Massachusetts, 4.1. Just so everybody knows, on the dollars and cents of crazy, that makes no sense. How on earth would you ever want to, how would you ever get reelected if that's your track record? Maybe you need this weird infusion of last minute votes, ballots that magically arrive days afterward. You guys know we've played so many of the audio clips that go back to 2021 when Maricopa County and Fulton County and other counties were like, we need to investigate what happened. I mean, where else but in the state of Pennsylvania, in the Commonwealth of the land before time, would you in 2020 have record of sending out, and they're supposedly coded, right, in a database, 1.7 million mail-in ballots, but receive 2.5 million votes by ballot? Mail-in. How's that possible? How do you have 800,000 extra people who just voted by mail? Oh, you mean that's the game? That's the scam? Of course it is. So yesterday, the Supreme Court ruled something. People got a little sphinctery. We talked about it. Breaking news on the show. I've got this from scotusblog.com. It seems to be the most reasonable synopsis of what basically the High Court is poised to say, and what they're saying is, by June, they're probably going to restrict the degree to which you could get mail-in ballots days after an election. Should be election day. Now, if you want to vote by mail, I think it's terrible. I think it's all scam. It's all garbage. But President Trump is going to have to figure out how he's going to negotiate this. Back to the beginning, the Trump trap, right? What is this president really good at doing? Knowing where he ultimately wants something to end up and then negotiating something completely above and beyond that so that there's room to negotiate and Scooby back down. Well, how is he going to do that? Court appears ready to overturn state law allowing for late arriving mail-in ballots. The Supreme Court Monday appeared ready to overturn a Mississippi law that allows mail-in ballots to be counted as long as they are postmarked by and then received within 5 business days of election day. Doesn't that seem weird to you guys? Doesn't it seem like it encourages, we've got a water main break. Quick, everybody, stop the count. All right, everybody go home. No, there's nothing to see here. Don't you worry about it. Nothing's going to happen. We're just going to put up some sheeting Some duct tape on the windows. We're going to board the doors shut. Nobody will see what's going on, but trust us, it'll be great. And then the next day you wake up and it's Joe Biden. Okay, that's how it happens. That's how it happens. And then when you know what the deficit is, you're like, quick, dump a lot of these mail-in ballots that are all filled out the same way, right? All to the same candidate, because that makes sense. You all know what's going on. I'm beating a dead horse. Okay, so anyway, High Court, they're like, look, this Mississippi law, 5 days. Alito's like, you know what? It's election day. It's like Memorial Day isn't Memorial Week. It's not Memorial Month. It's Memorial Day. Election day. Now, if you want to mail them in and you're going to do something in advance of that, little pre-election, whatever, we'll have to have a conversation. But this voting and getting the votes in for weeks and weeks, like in California, not going to happen. And this has some effects on, what is it? It looks like 14 states plus DC have these so-called grace periods of up to 5 days when mail-in votes can be brought in and counted and used towards the results. There is another 15 states that have pretty forgiving mail-in ballot receipt times for military and overseas voters. So this is potentially all going to change with the High Court. Now, about those baseless claims, remember how much the left is trying to tell us there's no election fraud? That's the safest, most secure election ever. When all the votes are counted, Joe Biden will be the winner. It's like so weird how they foreshadowed all that, right? It's like, well, let's go back in time, because we played this for you, but it was 5 years ago. I think we need to drum it up again so everybody understands what's at stake here. I want to go back to the year 2022, 4 years ago, when this is Arizona State Senator Mark Finchem back in 2022. He was at the time running to be Arizona's Secretary of State. He lost, but he's talking on Real America's Voice or whatever it is. He's talking about True the Vote, finding hundreds of thousands of ballots stuffed into ballot drop boxes with zero chain of custody in a state, by the way, that Joe Biden won by a negligible degree of votes. Listen.
How was the election stolen in Arizona, sir?
Well, it was stolen by a number of ways. If you've seen 2,000 mules, stuffing the ballot box with, and this is a conservative number, the True the Vote was able to track, over 207,000 ballots were stuffed into ballot collection boxes that have no chain of custody. We have no idea that who actually cast the ballot, and they were transported by mules to get to the boxes.
Well, whatever would be wrong with that, right? Wait, you have no receipt of who these people are. There was no need to sign the back of the envelope. There's no postmark. There's nothing. There's nothing, right? Because they're ballot drop boxes, obviously. Well, the news report then cites Arizona's 2020 election audit director and former Secretary of State Ken Bennett, who tried to and was unsuccessful at getting chain of custody documents from the state for more than 2 million ballots. Again, Arizona, hotly contested 2020, couldn't get basic information as then Secretary of State. The data is supposed to be his. Where is it? Listen.
The Maricopa County Audit Director is saying that the Board of Supervisors has yet to provide the proper chain of custody documentation for the 2.1 million ballots from the 2020 election. Mr. Bennett asserted that he has been asking for weeks for the documentation for that specific time period, but instead the county only provided the chain of custody documentation for the transport of the ballots from the warehouse to the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, which took place on April 21st and 22nd. Mr. Bennett said that the chain of custody documentation for the 5-month period he's been requesting is very important and needed to make sure ballot security was maintained.
Wait a minute. We don't know who those ballots came from, where they went, how many different stops they made on the journey. Really? And then we're just not going to comply. We're going to slow walk. We're going to stonewall. We're going to pretend. La, 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 la. I'm sorry. Were you talking to me? That went into my spam folder. I didn't get your request. See, if they run out the clock, then the statute of limitations, things change. Things are not prosecutable, if you will, right? And then there's this. The problems with the pallets of ballots, right? So there's pallets of ballots. In the pallets, there are crates and cartons of ballots. Things have barcodes and whatnot, unless they don't, which is what this gentleman found.
When 46 pallets of those ballots were delivered on April 22nd, there were many organizational issues that caught his attention.
Mr. Jarrett and I personally inspected all 46 pallets and all 1,681 boxes. We had, for example, 26 boxes that were mismarked on the manifest. Found 8 boxes that were on the pallets but not listed on manifests. 1 on pallet 12, 4 on pallet 22, 2 on 38, and 1 on 41. We did find a couple boxes that were listed on the manifests but not on the pallet. That was on pallet 40. Then we found 3 boxes listed as being on pallet 43, but they were actually on pallet 45.
Does that really sway an election? It's just like a handful of illegals voting. I mean, it's really not going to change anything, they tell us. Oh, I'm sorry. What did the FBI find when they went to Fulton County, Georgia? Oh, yeah, that's right. 55 boxes of ballots were missing. Wherever did they go? I'm sure it's not enough to change the results of the election. And this is when the Democrats step forward and they're like, we want all the Republicans to certify that Joe Biden did win the 2020 election. You're like, why would we have to say that? He was already president, right? I mean, that's what you told us. So why do we have to reaffirm it now? Unless you're getting a little sphinctery that people are breathing down your neck or up your skirt. Audio soundbite number 4, Arizona election integrity hearing. Like, look, we have tens of thousands of mail-in ballots that were received that we have no record of even being mailed out. Wait, what?
We have 74,243 mail-in ballots where there is no clear record of them being sent. And just to be clear, here in the state of Arizona, there's EV32s and EV33s. EV32s is supposed to give a record of when a mail-in ballot is sent, and an EV33 is supposed to give a record of when the mail-in ballot is received. And so there should be an equal, there should be more EV32s, more sent out than there are that are received. Specifically with these, we can tie them to a specific individual that was mailed to. And so we have 74,000 where we have them came back from individuals where we don't have a clear indication that they were ever sent out to them.
4,000, that's a hell of a lot of junk mail for one person again. However did that happen? And finally, you got to hear this. For anybody out there who talks about baseless claims, then Secretary of State candidate, now Arizona State Senator Mark Fincham says, oh, we have evidence. There's plenty of evidence. We just need judges with the stones to hear it.
I think it's interesting that Politico, in their rubbish this morning, said there's still baseless claims and it's still all a fantasy. Well, no, we've got the proof. We've got people who have pled guilty in Yuma for ballot trafficking, for ballot harvesting. Those are crimes in Arizona. And we continue, as I understand it, the AG's office continues to work through all of the evidence that they've got. But the largest thing that we're going to have to buckle down on, and that's what I'm running on my Secretary of State campaign on, is you've got to follow the law. There are so many cases where procedurally the counties did not follow the election procedure manual. That is the law. And every time they stepped afoul of that, it was one more crevice for fraud, for irregularities to occur.
And the high court looks to be all over it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll keep you updated as that progresses. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, as the media rush to fact check the president, what they should be doing is going back to read what Jimmy Carter said about mail-in voting. Dude, 20 years ago was like, it sucks. It's ripe with fraud. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I agree. All right, let me tell you guys about Rumble Wallet. Rumble Wallet. This is something that they're very proud of, our friends at Rumble, and it's wallet.rumble.com. Let me tell you about this. People are moving some people moving to crypto, but there's a problem with it. Most wallets still plug into the same system we're trying to escape in the first place, right? That's why Rumble created the Rumble wallet. It's a self-custodial wallet that lives inside of an ecosystem that actually defends free speech and financial freedom. That's it. No bank holding your balance. Not even Rumble can touch your funds. This is your money, essentially your keys on your terms, right? If you're already using Bitcoin or stable coins, Rumble Wallet gives you even more power, direct fast tipping and support for creators right on Rumble without waiting weeks for payouts, on-chain payments to assets like Bitcoin, Tether Gold, and also some other things. Most wallets stop at storage, but Rumble Wallet connects your money to a marketplace of ideas that refuses to cave to censorship. So if you're about sovereignty, financial and digital, this is where you should level up. Wallet.rumble.com or search Rumble Wallet in your app store. Check it out. See what you think. Love you guys for trying it. What's happening out there, everybody? Isn't it so frustrating how everything seems so common sense and so obvious, and everything that the Democrats are doing, you're like, really? That's as good as you've got? Cory Booker with a freaking podium that he carted in and put in a section in like a backdrop of an airport to act out. He was outraged. It's like, really?
I don't understand.
Do better.
I don't understand why we just can't get back to you have to request a ballot. Easy way to check, oh, this person's requesting a ballot.
Yes.
Are they a citizen?
Curious. I do believe that Kelly Morgan is still doing what she's doing online, kicking ass, taking names, teaching people how to discover their inner abs. Morgainsfitness.com, MORGAINZ fitness.com. 90 days sounds like a long time, but at the end of 90 days, you measure yourself, your fat, your inches, your weight, and you see what you've done. And it's from the privacy of your home, all done online. 90 Ignite is what it's called. Kelly is the architect of it. Morgain's Fitness, that means anywhere you live, you can do this. MORGAINZ fitness.com. They're pretty awesome.
I just texted you.
What did you text me?
A tulip bloom testimonial.
What?
It's in the Rumble
I will
chat. Not chat, but the comment section.
Oh, the blue face oil is amazing. After all the years of work. Oh.
OMG.
I can't wait to read this for you guys when we come back. It's pretty beautiful. So thank you. Look at you guys. 2.44 rumbles. That's the number that I need. I need it. What a great message. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jenny. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, we all could smell it a mile away, right? We were told to be very afraid of a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic. Your kids are vectors of disease. People are dropping like flies. Stay home. Don't risk it. We'll send you a ballot. And we almost kind of fell for it a little bit. You're like, yeah, I could kind of see it. And then things just got seriously sideways. So in this Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the land before time where we live, our Secretary of State was like, yeah, you know what? I mean, don't worry about any time stamp. There's no date by which these ballots need to be accepted. I mean, it is a pandemic. We're just going to have to work it out, right? And it's like, well, you know, about that signature on the back of the envelope that's supposed to be verified with your signature on file. I mean, it is once in a lifetime global pandemic, and it's an awful lot to ask for. So we're just going to accept anything everywhere all the time, and that's how it's going to be. And break. And we were all like, wait a minute. How is that even remotely legal? And so then there were challenges. Well, we don't want to gum up the legal system. I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic. What's the excuse? There's always an excuse. There's always a smokescreen. There's always a reason. There's a January 6th or 9/11. There's always a reason. I want you to hear President Trump in the Oval Office. This was last week. And he said something that piqued my interest. And I asked Brock to snag it. He says, look, even former President Jimmy Carter, the lib of all libs, knew mail-in balloting was horrible and rife for fraud.
We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this commission, they set it up. He said the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have mail-in. And it's time that the Republicans get tough and stop it because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected.
There you go. It's the only way they can get elected. So I searched that. Did Jimmy Carter really say that? And the Wall Street Journal did something. It said, heed Jimmy Carter on the danger of mail-in voting. This is an article from April of 2020, ladies and gentlemen. We were weeks into a mandatory shutdown. Absentee ballots remain the largest source of potential voter fraud. That quote isn't from President Trump, the Wall Street Journal, before they really started sucking, wrote, who criticized mail-in voting this week after Wisconsin Democrats tried and failed to change an election at the last minute into an exclusively mail-in affair. It's the conclusion of the bipartisan 2005 report of the Commission on Federal Election Reform, chaired by former President Jimmy Carter and former Secretary of State James Baker III. Concerns about vote buying have a long history in the U.S. They helped drive the move to the secret ballot, which U.S. states adopted between 1888 and 1950. Cheat is going to cheat all the time, ladies and gentlemen. It's like Adam and Eve, back to the very beginning. That's how long people have been cheating. Secret ballots make it harder for vote buyers to monitor which candidates sellers actually voted for. Vote buying has been pervasive, and it goes into all of this stuff. You wouldn't know any of this listening to the media outcry over Mr. Trump's remarks. There is a lot of dishonesty going on with mail-in voting, the president said. Again, this is April of 2020. In response, a CNN fact check declared that Trump opened a new front in his campaign of lies about voter fraud. And a New York Times headline jumped on, Trump is pushing a false argument on vote by mail fraud. Both claim that voter fraud is essentially non-existent. The Carter-Baker report found otherwise. It's talking about intimidation and vote buying. Citizens who voted home, at nursing homes, at the workplace, or church are more susceptible to pressure, overt and subtle, or to intimidation. I'm not so sure Jimmy Carter back in 2005 was talking about an exclusive vote by mail scheme. But he knew in its iterations even 20 odd years ago, it sucked because it helps cheaters. Because what do cheaters want to do? Cheaters got to cheat. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, it's the moment that media hack and former Republican Joe Scarborough realized that Chuck Schumer is a worthless puppet. And I had to hear it, so you will too. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Let me tell you guys, honestly, if I had to choose one thing and only one thing to take for whatever, it would be this, Blood Flow 7 by Juvenon. It's nothing magic. It just is nitric oxide, which is a molecule which helps your blood vessels open up so more blood can flow through. And when more blood can flow through, you have greater circulation. You have greater stamina. Blood to your brain gives you better focus, better memory. You notice things like you don't tucker out. You don't hit that wall. You're not yawning at 2 p.m, ready to curl up in a ball and take a nap. You're raring to go. You're ready to do more, right? And then come nighttime, when it's time for you to fall asleep, you sleep like a boulder. Bloodflow7.com. That's it, /Wendy. 30% off. You can have this for a month for under $30. Try it for less than $1 a day and then tell me how much you love me. And I'll say, I know. I know you love me. Who doesn't? How many negative down thumbs do I have? I'll see how many people don't love me. It is 12.
It's official.
Oh, you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Bloodflow7.com /Wendy. What?
We have Timothy Brooks' address. It's been emailed to you.
Timothy.
I cross-referenced it with what you have.
Tim, didn't you think that something was wrong? Weren't you like, I ordered it a month ago. Where is it? No? Hey, if I have to look at it for a month, I have to make you feel kind of bad. All right, let me tell you about this. Tulip blooms. All right, Brock, tell everybody what you did today with this from Tulip Blooms.
I rubbed it on my feet, put my socks on, and then put my feet in the massager for 10 minutes. It was...
You know, you walk out of that and
told you, it felt like I had a pedicure.
Your toes are tingly. You feel like you're walking on a cloud. I'm just going to say, I know it says massage oil, and the company sent it to me just because it's new, and I went nutty over it. I'm like, whatever the heck that is. Dry hands, dry feet, dry anything. What I love about it is it absorbs into your skin. It's an oil, but it doesn't leave like greasy marks all over the place. Let it absorb into your skin, and it gets all the way down, so much deeper than just the epidermis. It gets all the way down in there and plumps things up. You can feel it. I want to read this to you. Tulip Blooms with an S, tulipblooms.shop /Wendy. Look, I don't buy nice stuff for myself, right? I take care of my skin, but I do now. I do now because it matters. All right, this is what Brock sent me. It said, I tried Tulip Bloom's massage oil, blue face oil, and the body scrub. OMG. All of the years of wearing my army uniform are slowly falling away. I put the massage oil on my feet and then socks right before bed. It feels like I have new feet. You could spend $50 for a pedicure. That's good for a week or two. Or you can buy Tulip Bloom's velour and have new feet every morning. Truly a glorious gift in my life. Okay, that's
a hell of a testimonial.
tulipblooms.shop /Wendy. Look, I don't buy this sort of stuff either. I'm 100% into it. How your skin feels, it changes how you feel. Absolutely changes how you feel. And I even go so far, if you have tension, I do right now. This Tulip Soothe. This is another one. It's got like a little ice cream scooper, but it's just so you can scoop it out. I'll tell you what, on arthritic fingers and neck, how you doing? tulipblooms.shop /Wendy. This is the bomb. And it smells like you were at the spa. Innocuous, fresh, natural. Kind of like my aura. Nothing? No. All right. I tried, guys.
Oh, T. Brooks says, ordered a Crew Dragon jacket from SpaceX, never got it. Just used to not getting stuff I order.
Oh,
No, that's not us.
No. You gave me great anxiety. Do you see how gray my hair is? Timothy?
And look what you did to me.
I know.
Dealing with her.
We need to get in for a cut and color.
When is that?
I don't know. Not this week. Next, hopefully. I don't know.
I don't have it in my calendar.
I have to go somewhere else maybe. I don't know. 2.54. Okay. 460 people in the next hour. That's what it takes. Click the thumbs up button. And then follow us. Damn it. This is just the dumbest thing. I'm sorry. Because you have to hear it since I did.
Hey, I had to edit it.
So, yeah. We both heard it, and I was like, oh my gosh. They've got horrible actors. Horrible actors.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program, I should say, is live. We're always delighted and blessed to be with you. So thanks for spending some time with us today. There's a point, I think, for most of us where we kind of exhaust our usefulness, especially on the job, right? At some point, it's time to walk away, start doing other things. Go enjoy your hobbies, whatever it is, except not in Congress. That is where people go, apparently, to die. Look at Chuck Schumer. He's, a step away from Mitch McConnell's statue boy, right? Chuck Schumer, I think, is a more insidious kind of dumb, though. All he knows is Congress. Went to law school, never was a lawyer, never tried a case. Never had a client, never had to get rent, never had to get insurance, right? All of these things covered for them. At some point, you exhaust your usefulness, which is why I argue on this program commonly. America demands and deserves term limits, right? Can you imagine what we could accomplish as a people, as a country, if instead of allowing our lawmakers to incessantly run for re-election. In fact, it's what they do. It's all they do. It's why they've got the clicks. It's why Cory Booker took a freaking podium and a microphone and set it up at like JFK and did a little outraged, photo op about the lines caused by Trump. I mean, it's so preposterous, right? If they weren't constantly running for re-election, I don't know. Maybe they'd focus on getting some shizzle done. Novel idea. Rand Paul can't get it done. John Fetterman can. Curious. So here's spineless Chuck Schumer. They dust him off. They give him whatever was in Joe Biden's hyperbaric chamber. And they try to take him over to sit on the Morning Joe set with Joe Scarborough and his toxic wife, Mika Brzezinski, right? And the panel. And Joe Scarborough is trying to have a conversation with the senator from New York. And he's like, can we just admit, I mean, don't you think we should be big enough to admit that this strike, Operation Epic Fury, that this President Trump authorized and was behind on Iran, neutralizing the largest state sponsor of terror in the country, wiping out potentially generations of future leaders, of people who are such zealots, they ideologically see the world through one religious set of lens and nothing else is permissible. Can we just agree here, Senator Schumer, that this is probably a good thing? You have to hear, because I'm going to posit to you right now. The bummer about the Democrats is also one of the things that makes them formidable. You're not allowed to think for yourself. You're not allowed to speak for yourself, vote for yourself, have thoughts by yourself that deviate in any way from the directive handed down by the puppeteer. Whether that's Susan Rice, whether it's Klaus Schwab, Barack Obama, whomever it is, that is what the Democratic Party does. And they give you talking points. Chuck Schumer is a horrendous actor. He is a horrendous speaker. There is nothing authentic that comes out about him at all. And it's extraordinarily uncomfortable. So here's that moment. Joe Scarborough asking Chuck Schumer if Trump taking out Iran and their nuclear threat is a net positive for the world. Listen.
Is it a good thing that Iran, and I think you would agree with me, epicenter of terrorism in the world since 1979, is it good that their military infrastructure is being degraded to the degree that it is? Yes or no?
It's you can't, because it's a premature question. What is going to happen in the next several months?
No, I can ask that question.
Well, you can't separate.
No, I can't. So you have a military side of it. I can show you my chart, but I think I threw it away. You have the military side, you have the political side. I'm simply asking on the military side, is it good, regardless of whether we agree with going in or not, is it good that Iran's military infrastructure has been seriously
And again,
degraded?
I have to tell you, Joe, first, you can't, what's going to happen 3 months from now? Is it worth it? What's going to happen? Will the world economy collapse? Will something happen even worse? Will the whole energy infrastructure of the world go up in smoke?
What? What are you talking about? So obviously, the talking points that Chuck Schumer has been given by the puppeteer is to say, first and foremost, well, what's going to happen next? There's no plan. Could cats and dogs living together? Locusts? I mean, what is it going to be? Anarchy? Chaos? Oh my gosh. And Joe Scarborough was like, can we just agree that evil shouldn't have a nuclear weapon? I mean, that seems kind of basic. Can't say it. Chuck has his talking points. So Joe he tries to come around the outside again. He's like, look, Chuck says there's no plan. Donald Trump has no forethought. He has no idea what he's doing. It's totally willy-nilly. Have you guys gotten that vibe out of this president at all? Pete Hegseth, Dan Cain, Raisin Cain, General of the Joint Chiefs. Does it sound like they've kind of got everything ducks in a row, contingencies? He was like, it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks. This is what we're going to do. We're going to neutralize this. We're going to neuter them there. And it's, I don't know, kind of been like exactly what they said. And then he's like unsanctioning oil to make sure that the oil prices for all these other countries comes down so it's not terrible. And all these other things. Does that sound like somebody with no plan? Well, that's what Chuck Schumer is desperate for you to believe. Listen.
When they do it without planning, when they do it without understanding where they're going,
Senator,
where they're going,
but
I don't think it's
question.
fair.
It's a trick question.
No, it's not. It is.
If you do not strategize the consequences of the action, the military action, if you obliterate and do all these things, but you don't actually play it out in your minds and have strategy for the consequences, then it may not be good.
Let me answer the question for everybody in America. The answer, yes. It's good that the terrorist regime, their military has been, and capabilities have been degraded radically.
Mika Brzezinski says it's a trick question. It's not a trick question, Mika. It's not a trick question. And I love how she hyperspaces as a news babe, right? As a washed out news babe, hyperspaces into the Situation Room to be able to know exactly what's been going on with all of the war planning. She knows there's no plan, there's no structure, nothing's going on. No, your husband's question was very simple. Yes, of course. Getting rid of their nuclear capability is good for planet Earth. But what's the political effect on epic fury? What is it? Chuck Schumer here interrupts to fearmonger because this is all he knows how to do. Listen.
The question, Mike, though, is political. It's the political question.
No.
What is the political impact? What's the impact in the straits? What's the impact in the region?
Joe, in all due respect, if you ask the American people, if you have the choice of degrading the military structure in Iran, but having gasoline be $6 a gallon, and our economy falling into a deep recession where millions lose their job, what do you think Americans
Senator, you're not
would say?
listening to me. That's the political side of it.
No, it's not political.
Okay.
It's a consequence, just like Mika said.
All right, why don't we talk about the Yankees, because you're not following me here.
I am
with all
following
due
you.
respect.
I just don't agree with you.
Just don't agree with you because I'm a robot and I wasn't told to talk about these other things. You must stick to the script. Look, we're going to have $6 gas prices. It's going to be total anarchy. We're going to have a deep recession. It's all going to go to hell in a handbasket. But don't look at how we got out of Afghanistan. Right? So then Scarborough realizes that Chuck Schumer is a puppet. He is a vacuous bit of the machine. Say this. Okay, I'll go say this. Go stand by this grill and pretend that you're barbecuing. But next time, don't put a piece of American cheese on a frozen patty because nobody believes you're barbecuing any more than we believe you're actually thinking for yourself. Chuck Schumer, number 4.
You don't understand me. There's a big difference. I would say that most Americans would say it's a good thing that it's degraded. Would they agree that we should have gone to war, Mike? I think most Americans, you look at the polls, they don't want this war.
Okay.
They don't want this war. But there is, it's something that I think the Democrats should be, I think it's something, with all due respect, Democrats should be clear about. Iran has tried to kill Americans since 1979. Okay. Two things can be true at once. It can be good that Iran's killing machine has been degraded. At the same time, the consequences may outweigh the good that come from that.
Okay,
it's okay to say that.
I don't disagree with you.
Why are we talking about hypotheticals? We've got a peace conversation that's happening this week. You have a completely neutered Iran. They have nowhere to go, nothing to do, no leverage at all. And we're like, well, I don't know if Donald Trump has a plan. Really? And finally, Chuck Schumer's like, snap. I was given my talking points and I sucked at them. Let's see if I can stick the final landing. You listen and tell me if he did.
The fact that the leader Khamenei is gone, no one regrets that. The fact that Iran has less ability to create military trouble is no one disputes that. But you have to look, I don't think it's political, to be very honest with you. It's the consequences, the military, the geopolitical, the economic consequences.
I'm saying geopolitical.
You got to let me finish.
You just said what I was saying. The geopolitical consequences.
Right. It's not just the economic consequences. Right. Again, let me ask the question again. If you ask the American people, and you had the package together, because we don't know how bad it's going to get, but we know it's pretty bad now. I think most of them would have said, no, we shouldn't have gone to war. And by the way,
most of them have said that.
We shouldn't have gone to war.
You know what the honest answer would have been, Chuck? The world is a better place. Period. That's all. The world is now a better place. Now, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, did you hear this? How many times has Trump given Iran an off-ramp? How many times has he given them an out of this war? Chuck Schumer says Trump has no plan. Really? Let's go there next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I know I'm skipping his last one. It shows you that they have nothing to talk about. Because something to talk about would be to be honest. Look, I don't like this president, but what he did, what he had the guts to do, and the way our military executed it was brilliant and necessary. But we have to resist. James Carville is so deranged. He couldn't possibly tell you the truth about that. That's the scary part. And then MSNBC is like, why don't we have any viewers? I don't know. Healthy Cell. Healthy Cell. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. So Healthy Cell just recently launched a new product. It's called Bone Strength. Bone Strength. So, hey, if you're my age, osteoporosis, things of that nature are a serious consideration. Well, Bone Strength is interesting. It's a gel supplement that is calcium, of course, but also several other vitamins and minerals that are key to maintaining strong bones. I'm talking vitamin D, vitamin K2, magnesium, zinc, and more. And it's all in one gel pack. In fact, Bone Strength from Healthy Cell replaces 12 different pills worth of supplements. Like if you go on healthycell.com/Wendy and look at the ingredients in Bone Strength and look and see what your multivitamin has or other things that you're taking. And I guarantee you could probably stop taking those other things because if you're taking Bone Strength. The formulations are great. The way it gets into your system is, it's elementary, but it's also revolutionary at the same time. Instead of making your stomach digest a pill or a capsule, you take it in a gel form, like a yogurt almost, or an applesauce, and it easily is infused into your system and gets down into the cells where it's needed. Healthy Cell, that's why they call it healthycell.com/Wendy. Nice discount. Use my name. Get 20% off. Their formulations are phenomenal. I'm going to tell you, if you have like brain fog and you're worried about it because you have a presentation, or you've got something where you have to perform, you need to be on, you can't be fuzzy. I was like, Fozzie Bear. You can't be fuzzy. It's the Focus and Recall. It's a phenomenal product. Just a phenomenal product. Love them. healthycell.com/Wendy. So Chuck had a couple talking points. Number one, what's going to happen later? What's going to happen down the road? It's going to be, well, nobody knows, Chuck. But we know that we're not going to get bombed by Iran with a nuclear weapon. I can tell you that.
Can we ask Chuck one thing? Gas prices now are still not as high as they were with Joe Biden, and we get no oil from Iran. So where's he coming up with this $6 gas? Do we all have to drive to California to get it?
All fear mongering, babe.
Are we canceling Chuck 6?
Yeah. I have a very difficult time with him, so I'm sorry. I went a little long. How much do you guys love watching me sit here and primp? Always the girl. We just heard him trying desperately to tell you the story that President Trump is in over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing. He has no plan. He has no focus. He's got nothing. It's the dumbest thing. It's like saying that Somalians are the masterminds of this great welfare fraud scheme. You know, the people who escaped civil war from thousands of miles away, who have extraordinarily low IQs, primarily because of inbreeding. And these are the people who have ripped us off for tens of billions of dollars, if not more. Chuck Schumer is going to say that the guy who wrote The Art of the Deal, which basically tells you the entire game plan, his strategy, how this president thinks, Chuck Schumer is going to tell you that that man, Donald John Trump, has no idea what he's doing. Just willy-nilly. No idea. Really? It's so curious because it seems like there is an idea. It seems like when Donald Trump first took office in 2025, right? And he went on that cruise out there through the Middle East, and he met with the Kuwait and Qatar and the UAE and the Saudis, right? Do you think maybe Trump at that time had conversations with these foreign leaders and shared with them this idea? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Is that how the Board of Peace came to be so lickety split? I'm going to go with yeah, Chuck. I want you to hear Trey Yingst. He's a great, I think he's a treasure for Fox. And he's talking about how there are peace talks now set up with the Trump administration and whomever the Iranian counterpart is, who is going to be leader for a week before they get blown up, whatever. And he's talking about where this is going to take place and how big of a deal this could be a 4-week war. Literally a 4-week war. Let's listen in to Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Talks on ending the war could be held in Islamabad as early as this week. There's also a report that Egypt, Pakistan, and Turkey are passing messages between the United States negotiators, which I assume would be Jared and Steve Witkoff, and Iran's parliament speaker. What do you know about these two reports?
Yeah, we have seen these reports indicating that face-to-face talks could take place in Islamabad, Pakistan, as early as this week. We know there are messages being sent behind the scenes. I've talked with a number of regional sources who confirm this to Fox News. The question here is why now, and if the Iranians are willing to make good faith concessions. This reminds me of just before Operation Epic Fury began. President Trump, time and time again, has tried to give the Iranians an off-ramp, even before this war began. And he's trying to do so again, understanding that there are still thousands of U.S. forces on the way, in addition to the 50,000 that remain in the Middle East. And so President Trump has a lot of options on the table, and he maintains the leverage at these negotiations that are now set to take place, possibly in person, as early as this week.
So, sound like somebody without a plan? Does that sound like somebody who doesn't have a keen understanding of what's going on? Miranda Devine, author of The Laptop from Hell, and she's just great, and a writer for the New York Post. She says what John Fetterman said, that there is no individual leader of the Democratic Party. It is their derangement and their shared triggered hatred of President Trump that guides them.
John Fetterman said the other day that the leader of the Democratic Party at the moment is Trump derangement syndrome. And that's it. They are completely irresponsible. They've defunded the TSA. We've got these massive queues at every airport. It's dangerous. And I really think that Democrats would be quite happy for Americans to get harmed, for American personnel in the military to get harmed, just to advance their cause. And their cause is to beat Donald Trump, and they have nothing else.
That's it. Their cause is never about you. It's never about me. It's never about the future for our children. It's never about anything. It's a rabid tunnel vision lunacy that is diagnosable. And that's not a flippant thing to say. You know, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I want to read you what I think is a very well-written and poignant reflection. A man who writes for the Gateway Pundit and toured through, had to travel during the whole 5-hour nightmare with TSA. Very shrewd insights that go back to the Democrats. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Let's see how you guys are doing. Look at you guys. People started chatting 6 hours ago. Seriously? What'd you send me? Oh.
More.
So Mitch McConnell has voted yes.
But unless they vote for that's the BS about it. Unless they vote for the filibuster, it doesn't matter. It's not going to get 60.
Do you guys believe that Trump is losing support of men?
With kayaks, yes.
Right? Hard to say. Everything they say, I don't believe. I believe very little. Even when we hear that things are glorious, I'm like, I don't believe that. How about 340 rumbles? Let's go. You guys got this. Let's see what else we have going on here. What's up, Maggie May and Vipers? What's up, Jasmine Rose and Big Mom 747? We love you back. For the Bennetts, good morning from Southern California. You were up early. Early if you rumbled at that hour. Hello from Southern Kansas, 1955 mother of 19 says 2 of 7. Good morning, good afternoon. Oh, thanks, you guys. Aw. Ha! Grand Meows 22 says, you are so real. You cook for your family. You do all your own cleaning with Sniper. You rake up your own leaves. You discipline your children. You make them do their own laundry. And you engage in family activities. I could go on and on. I do not know what your SAT score was, but you are so much like Newsom. Just like us, LOL, right? How he was like, I'm just as stupid as you people. That's a room full of black people. And it's like, well, maybe you didn't want to say it that way. That's not what I was saying. Well, sounded dumb, Gav. But that was a cute comment. Thank you. You will not miss us on Friday. Barnabas, thank you. Great show, Wendy. Pete Buttigieg is worthless as blues breaker. I agree. 100%. Rumble. Let's see. Look at all of you. My heavens. Albany, New York. Hello, Jim and Gennaro. Hi, Denise. Jenny, hello. I love you guys.
NBC News. President Trump cast a mail-in ballot in an upcoming Florida special election, according to Palm Beach County records, as he publicly condemns the voting method as fraudulent. He's the president of the United States, for God's sakes.
Yeah. How about we figure out some other things?
Now, if he took Air Force One in Secret Service and flew down there, they'd tell you how much money he was wasting. Did you get everybody?
I think. Who do you think?
I think.
I could go for some beets.
Some what?
Beets. Beets with some pistachios, some watercress, a little balsamic, goat cheese. That sounds pretty tasty, doesn't it?
That sounds like one of those meals you get at one of those fancy restaurants.
Beets and goat cheese?
And goat cheese and pistachios.
Why? Weirdo.
I'd go for a burger.
I don't know.
Although Kate made lasagna, so that's what I'll be eating.
I'm not a big lasagna girl.
No?
I don't know if I've really had great lasagna. I didn't grow up eating it, and it's not something I would eat at a restaurant. It's something you need, like, I don't know. She's a good cook, though.
You need what?
I don't know. I'd want it. I bet you if I made it, it would not be good.
Dude, you've never made it.
I know. I'm just saying. I bet you if I did,
Maybe you
it
should
wouldn't
try
be good.
it.
Why?
change things up a little bit. You don't eat a lot of pasta though.
No, and for some reason, my kids are very conscious right now. The twins are very conscious about their weight or what have you. Kind of like I am with this dark spot on my face. And I don't get it. I'm like, one of them weighs 40 pounds more than the other, but neither of them is heavy.
Well, Chris is just
he's a tree
solid.
trunk. Yeah,
he's like a brick shit house.
I'm like, I don't know where you came from, bro. Not me. He was 4 pounds and 2 ounces.
Not anymore. That's his big toe.
It's a big boy. He's so pleasant too. He still kissed me on the lips. Program. I want to read you this article here in just a second, but have you ever considered how so much of what the Democrats are about is planting landmines, roadside bombs, to blow up and to throw President Trump off course, to disrupt anything successful that he would do? It's all it is. January 6th was the ultimate. It was the ultimate fabrication. And it takes, I think, a truly diabolical mind to look at a situation and see a way to capitalize, to twist the truth, to lie to the people you promise to represent, and to enjoy and relish in the suffering of innocent people that you set up. And yet that's who we have in this country as the Democratic Party. I mean, does anybody else think it was so weird for Nancy Pelosi's daughter to be filming a documentary, allegedly, that day at the Capitol? Does anybody else think it's peculiar that Nancy Pelosi multiple times denied the National Guard, as did the mayor of D.C.? Does anybody else connect any of those dots and see how ridiculous and sinister that was? Because people's lives were ruined. And on this program, I've had to share the story of one Pennsylvania man whose greatest offense was walking through the Capitol that day with an American flag. And they destroyed his life. And his neighbors turned on him. And the media pounced on him. And so he walked off a ladder with a rope around his neck. That's another level. So the playing games of the TSA agents and the FEMA workers and the Coast Guard and the Secret Service, how wholly un-American is it to want someone to slip through the cracks and take a shot at the president? Want someone to get on a plane and do something they shouldn't and take America's lives and our safety and security and chuck it. What kind of a person does that? Someone who's desperate. Someone who's desperate, but they're dirty. Dirty people play by different rules. Dirty people have a lot they need to hide. And they will stop at nothing, especially when it comes to their legacy, to cover it up. Even if that means destroying your life, even if it means rounding you up and throwing you in prison, even if it means trampling all over what you and I believe is justice. To these people, it's not a big deal. It's a very big deal. And it makes me angry. This article I found, I think, is a very interesting representation. It's not very long. It's written by a gentleman named Gregory Lykov. And he obviously writes for the Gateway Pundit. And he writes this article, and this is what it's entitled. I traveled through TSA Democrat shutdown chaos, so you don't have to. And what he says, I think, is so applicable, using this time and this story in our chain of events to branch out and show a bigger picture. Everything Democrats touch sucks after they do. This is how the article goes. John F. Kennedy International Airport on Sunday reflected a level of dysfunction that is difficult to overstate. The experience was not defined by inconvenience alone. It exposed a systemic breakdown that affected thousands of travelers in real time. The TSA checkpoint line stretched for hours. Baggage drop lines extended deep into the terminal, and even locating the start of security became its own prolonged ordeal. What should have been a routine travel day turned into a case study in how quickly infrastructure fails when government coordination collapses. The TSA line itself took approximately 4 hours for most travelers around me. That figure, while striking on its own, does not fully capture the broader dysfunction. Checking a bag required more than an hour of waiting, often in lines that lacked clear direction or staffing. Passengers moved slowly through overcrowded terminal spaces with little guidance on what to do. For travelers with disabilities, including those requiring wheelchairs, the situation was no better. Accessibility lines mirrored the same delays, reinforcing that this was not an isolated inefficiency, but a complete operational failure by design. The conditions inside the terminal created an environment that felt increasingly unsafe. Pre-security areas were packed beyond capacity, limiting movement and creating bottlenecks at nearly every point of entry. With only a handful of TSA agents actively processing passengers, the ratio of staff to travelers appeared severely imbalanced. That imbalance produced visible consequences. Travelers showed signs of physical distress after standing for extended periods in dense crowds, and multiple incidents appeared to require medical attention. These were immediate human consequences of a partial government shutdown unfolding in front of thousands of people. Air travel itself began to break down as a result. Flights were delayed not because of weather or mechanical issues, but because passengers could not physically reach their gates in time. In several cases, including mine, he writes, planes waited for travelers who remained stuck in security lines due to the small number of passengers who actually made it to the flight. The system had effectively stalled, unable to perform even its most basic function, moving passengers from check-in to departure in a predictable. The experience is not significant because it was personally frustrating. Rather, the broader experience, broader significance lies in how government decisions translate directly into real-world consequences. Policy debates in Washington often feel abstract, removed from daily life, but this situation was the opposite. The failure to maintain full operational funding for the Department of Homeland Security produced extreme disruption to air travel, affecting not only TSA operations, but the broader travel system that millions of Americans rely on. The DHS isn't a collection of independent agencies that can function in isolation. TSA, ICE, FEMA, the Coast Guard, they operate as components of a unified structure designed to ensure both security and continuity. Attempting to separate funding for one component while withholding support from another disrupts that structure. The argument that TSA can function independently of the broader DHS framework does not align with how the system is designed or how it operates in practice. Recent efforts to redirect personnel, including the temporary use of ICE agents to support TSA operations, underscore the severity of the breakdown. While such measures may alleviate short-term pressure, they do not address the underlying issue. Reassigning agents from one critical function to another introduces new vulnerabilities elsewhere. Immigration enforcement cannot be paused indefinitely without consequence. The real solution is to vote Democrats out of office. I'm going to read that again. Immigration enforcement cannot be paused indefinitely without consequence. The real solution is to vote Democrats out of office. While that is a long-term goal, the immediate priority is to present the situation accurately. It must be clearly communicated that the shutdown is the result of Democrat actions, not both parties, and not Republicans. Democrats often win on messaging. But this is not an issue where they can be allowed to control the narrative. Out of all the chaos I experienced, this author writes, traveling during the partial government shutdown, one clear takeaway emerged. I have never been more inclined to support Republicans than I am now. What happened over the weekend and got solved by and large yesterday is a small example of what Democrats want to do when they retake control. It's going to happen. It's the way the system is supposed to operate. But the system is supposed to operate by allowing you and me and everybody else, you and I, to choose the winner. The way this system is rigged is they need the chaos to run the smoke screen so that you can't see how they've stolen your money, your confidence, your safety, and your vote. Airport mayhem. That was a small microcosm of what allowing these people back into office, back into power, back into the majority. That is what is going to happen to America. We already went through 4 years of it, ladies and gentlemen. Funny that Chuck Schumer isn't talking about the gas prices you and I bent over and paid during Joe Biden's debacle when he was an auto pen. When we get back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's tie it up in a bow. Why does everything that the left does feel so punitive? Let's chew on that next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I love that guy's take on it. Like to sit there and to have the stimulus overload of people around you bitching and moaning. And of course, it's like, right? But then he went up to 30,000 and he looked down and he's like, we've seen this before. It's Cloward Piven. Overrun the system, overload it, whether you break it with humanity, whether you overload it with charges so his system financially collapses, whether you shut it down with a virus and mandate that everybody do this or that, right? And then when the system collapses under the pressure of its own insanity, cue in the deep state to ride in on the white horse to save the day with a new system. We think we can fix this. It involves you moving into this very small little house in a 15-minute city, but I hear it is so great and the neighbors are fabulous. Right? Anywho, Brock, what's going on? He hasn't been very talkative with me today.
What?
I so want to take this thing out of my hair and just go. That would be a picture.
I'm not going to say what she looks like when she does that, because I got in trouble for it the other day.
Didn't you show a picture?
I don't have a picture of it.
Oh, it's such a shame.
I don't think.
Hmm.
No, because it's a high school picture and it doesn't really.
Mm-mm.
If you guys ever watched The Simpsons, where what is this, Sideshow Bob? His hair was
Wow.
That's who Chuck Schumer reminds me of, Mr. Burns.
Did you see the video of that Air Canada plane colliding with that?
It's nuts.
Did they say what the issue was? Was it an air traffic controller or what was it?
I heard that the air traffic controller saying he screwed up, but like, I don't know. How did you not see it? Like, DEI.
Why was it DEI? Was it some
Air Canada? I'm sure it was. No, I'm not sure, but of my guess, if it's Air Canada, they had mandates on who could be the pilot. Would you be surprised?
Do you remember when United did that? I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. Who cares what you are? Can you land? Can you take off and land? That's it. That's all I need. Someone's saying the truck ignored the order to stop.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio. Brock, I could hear you through the window. Everybody has one. Do you have one? I have one.
Everyone has one.
Everybody has one.
Where you step back and you're like, what in the hell did I see?
Yeah, I was dating a cop for a while who was super excited to show me his night vision goggles. How's that for a great pickup? Want to see my night vision goggles? Everybody has some experience with somebody in their life who's been crazy, whether you're romantically involved with them or you just known them, or God forbid, they're a part of your family and you have to navigate it. It's complicated. Because people who thrive off of disarray and negative energy and anger and frustration, people like James Carville, literally, it is the nourishment. It's the lifeblood. It's the golden chalice. It's whatever the secret sauce is. It's that. They need it, and they make everybody else miserable around them. You've had a boss who's like that. You've had colleagues who are like that. Maybe a teacher like that. It can ruin an experience in a hot second. But this is what the Democrats crave. They need. They have to have disarray. They have to have crazy. They must have chaos. They would be delighted if something horrendous happened, even if it meant wiping out thousands of Americans, just so Donald Trump looked bad, and they could maybe fundraise off of it, and maybe they could get some commercial clips that they could put together to maybe campaign off of, then maybe the guy that they're trying to tell us is so hot, Pete Buttigieg, everybody just can't wait to get him back, right? Maybe we could sort of sell. It's exhausting and it's un-American, and I reject that. And you know who else does? John Fetterman. John Fetterman. And if there is one story to show you the fickle support of a desperate political party, the Democrats, look at how they rallied around John Fetterman. He had a stroke. Don't you dare talk about him. Don't you dare. That's ableist. Give him a break. Do you know how gauche and disgusting that is? And then he started thinking for himself. And they're like, wait a minute. Can we give him another stroke? Who's in charge of his defibrillator? What could we do? And then he started speaking out. And he started telling the truth. And then President Trump caught wind of it. And he's like, hey, John, why don't you come on down to Mar-a-Lago, have dinner with me? I'll send the plane for you. You and Giselle, come on down. And he did. And he said, when the president of the United States calls you and you have an opportunity to have an audience with someone like that, why would you say no? Democrats would say no. Traditional James Carville deranged wackadoodles would say no. I'm not going to go meet with the president. Then they'd take pictures of the phone call and be like, he called me and I said no, jerk, right? John Fetterman's like, it's the president. He's the leader of the free world. He's the man through which things get done. Why would I not go? And then he came back and he's like, you know what? He's a regular guy. Yeah, he's a regular guy. I've met him. He's a regular guy. We all are. But there's that special slice of crazy. It might not sound very friendly for me to say this to my children, but I do. Mental illness is real, and it's stifling and suffocating for millions of American families. And it's also familial. It can run through your family tree. And no matter how hard you try to blunt it, you can't. I tell my sons, make sure you watch the machinations of the family of any young lady that you court, anybody you are interested in that you see a future with. Because when there is mental illness in the family, things just are so difficult. Might be cruel to say that. Or I might be trying to help them stave off a future of hassle. But this is where we are. There is a segment in this country that is deranged. And if that meant you or your family paying a serious price for something to happen that would make President Trump look bad, well, it's like taxes. It's just a price we're going to have to pay, ladies and gentlemen. That's not how I play. I want what's best for all of us, right? And I do believe this president does as well. I will say, before we say goodbye for the day, it's delicious for me to see Wolf Blitzer having to choke an apology on live television to say that when they fact-checked President Trump, who said, you know what, Iran called, they're ready to make a deal. And then they fact-check and said, they didn't call President Trump. Well, about that. Wolf was just like, yeah, apparently there's some peace talk set for this week. They are against peace. Think about that. Great day to be with you guys. Thanks for being a part of the show. Come on back tomorrow. We'll do it again, okay? 21 hours. Love you. Peace.